networking lunch. The hall's kind of full right now, but we're giving it another 5 minutes, and we'll be starting at 2:15 for the rest of delegates to come in, and we can start at 2:15 sharp for this next session, where the topic will be about shaping cities, shaping futures, a woman's journey in global infrastructure. Exciting times ahead. In the meantime, please have some refreshments. We've got coffee and tea at each side of the ballroom for you to keep fresh and engaged in our sessions today. Also don't forget to our attendees to ensure that you scan your QR code to ensure that you've clocked in your CCD and CPD. I think, do I get the codes right? Yes, for your certificate of completion for attending the seminar. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be coming back with more updates shortly. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you've had a great networking session over lunch. And once again, coffee and tea at the back of the hall. Feel free to take to refresh yourself as we move on to the second half of Women Way Forward Conference 2025. So it's time for me to introduce our guest speaker for this next session. She is a global architectural icon and advocate for gender equality and design. The applause is already going. A graduate of the University of Melbourne, she has served as president of Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, or we all know as PAM, and Architects Regional Council Asia, Arcasia, and as former Secretary General of the International Union of Architects, UIA, and council member of the UIA Region 4. She's internationally recognized for championing gender equality in architecture and having authored the Khartoum Declaration adopted by UIA in 2017. Honored with the PAM Gold Medal, the AIA Honorary Fellowship, and the Distinguished Australian Alumni Award. She continues to inspire through her advocacy, mentorship, and commitment to inclusive, innovative design. A remarkable leader. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia, Architect Dato' Tan Pei Ing, to present her thoughts on shaping cities, shaping futures, a woman's journey in global infrastructure.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope you won't fall asleep after the nice lunch. It is truly an honor for me to be here at the Women Way Forward Conference, a platform celebrating women who had led with courage, innovation, and vision, and to be among all the capable and remarkable ladies today. Please forgive me if I'm not in my best form today, because I'm still recovering from pneumonia. The doctor said I should be resting at home, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity to be with all of you, to share my journey, not just as an architect, but as a woman striving to shape cities, systems, and possibility for the future generations. My story began in a small bicycle shop in the small town of Kajang, where I was born. My childhood was marked by a period of great economic transition and rapid nation buildings. As I watched the skyline and urban landscape transforming, it sparked my fascination for architecture. And I realized that I wanted to be in the profession with the power to shape the environment and in turn, impact the society. That was the beginning of my dream to become an architect. I pursued my Bachelor of Architecture at the University of Melbourne, and when I returned to Malaysia in 1985, the reality was far from rosy. The country was going through an economic slowdown, and the industry was not welcoming to women at all, with many believed that women couldn't handle the pressures of the construction site. It was difficult for me to even get a job. But with the help of a family friend, I joined a small architectural firm, and that became the beginning of a journey that shaped the rest of my career. I founded PI Architect right after my professional registration in 1989, and our guiding principles have always been professionalism, integrity, and service. Like many women in the male-dominated field, I faced bias and skepticism, especially in the early years, but I refused to let that define me, as every profession comes with challenges, and gender discrimination was just one of them. So instead of stepping back, I chose to prove my worth through competence, commitment, and perseverance. The journey was not easy, but it built resilience, strengthened my resolve, and eventually earned the respect that defines my firm standing today. So over the years, my practice has completed a wide range of projects, and these are some of the current projects that my firm is working on. And these are some of the projects we have completed in the recent years. Those early years taught me to root every project in purpose and service. They also show me how strong professional institutions can shape not just our practice, but also policies, systems, and values that define how our cities grow and how people live within them. This brings me to my journey with the Malaysian Institute of Architects, PAM. I was inspired by the spirit of volunteerism shown by senior members who work tirelessly to promote the profession, and their examples sparked my long-standing involvement with PAM. In 2001, I was deeply honored to be elected as PAM's First Lady President, a milestone after 80 years of its history. That moment reaffirmed that with commitment, perseverance, and a genuine desire to serve, we can all make meaningful contribution and help to shape the futures of our profession. I continue to serve actively on PAM Council for many years, contributing to initiatives that advance professional standards and our collective voice as architects. Since 2001, I was appointed by the Minister of Works as a member of the Board of Architects Malaysia, LAM. LAM and PAM have provided meaningful platforms to corroborate and drive positive change within the built environment. Through PAM and LAM, I had the privilege of representing the profession in various government bodies and contributed to the development of key policies and regulations. For more than a decade, I've dedicated part of my efforts to advancing the architectural profession at the regional level, bringing together architects across Asia through shared purpose and lasting partnerships. My involvement with Arcasia, the Architects Regional Council Asia, currently comprising of 24 member institutes, began when I was asked to help revitalize the organizations and restore its relevance and direction. I was elected president in 2013 and continued to serve as immediate past president and advisor for many years. My goal was to rejuvenate Arcasia into a dynamic regional platform. We introduced initiatives to promote design excellence, nurture young architects, advance social responsibility, and improve its governance, ensuring Arcasia remains relevant and impactful. My journey eventually extended to the global stage, where I had the privilege of serving in international organizations, gaining a broader perspectives, and contributing Malaysia's voice on global architectural policy. My involvement with the International Union of Architects, UIA, began at the commissions and committees levels, and at PAM's request, I continue Malaysians' representation, serving as council members, and in 2021, I was elected Secretary General, the first female to hold that position. The UIA, founded in Switzerland and based in Paris, is the only global architectural body recognized by major UN agencies. So as SG, I was responsible for the UIA's overall governance, operations, and programs. Together, we work to strengthen its institutional framework and strategic direction to make the UIA more dynamic and responsive to contemporary challenges, uniting architects from all the 5 regions to advance the global built environment. This chart highlights my UIA journey, reflecting the depth of engagement and the many layers of governance, policy development, and international collaborations that have helped my work on the global stage. I was also responsible to overseeing the UIA working bodies, which form the backbone of the UIA, where key policies are developed and issues are explored in depth. Throughout my journey, I also actively engage with various regional and international organizations, These partnerships allow us to share knowledge, align professional standards, and build a more connected architectural community. The cooperation between PAM and SIA began in the early 2000s. Over time, this partnership expanded, first into PAM, SIA, ASA Tri-Nations, and later into PAM, SIA, ASA, IAI 4 nations. Through these collaborations, we have built mutual respects and forged lasting ties among architects from our neighboring countries. I have also been involved with the APEC Architect Project and the ASEAN Architects since their inceptions, and I continue to serve on the monitoring committee for both frameworks, promoting professional mobility and the mutual recognitions of architects across borders. I was appointed to the Australian Institute of Architects National Committee for Gender Equity, where I contributed to initiatives that advance equity within the architectural profession. I also serve on the international chapter, strengthening professional networks and bringing perspective from our region to the global platform. I was very privileged to serve on the Melbourne University Advisory Board, supporting the Believe campaign to advance higher education. This allowed me to work closely with the university, including coordinating contributions that led to the naming of the Malaysian Theatre in the Melbourne School of Design. This is indeed a proud and meaningful moment, seeing Malaysia's name being honored in a place that has shaped so many architects. As I reflect on my journey, one belief has always guided me. Architecture is not only about shaping skylines, but about shaping lives and futures. Every platform I've served on has deepened my conviction how advocacy and leadership matter most when guided by purpose, empathy, and integrity. It is actually amazing to note that so many speakers before me actually shared the similar views. In the next section, I would like to share some of the key initiatives and advocacies that I've been privileged to champion, which I hope have helped shape cities and futures. Representing PAM and LAM, I've been involved in shaping policies and reforms to strengthen the building industry, and one of the most transformative changes was the introduction of the Certificate of Completion and Compliance, CCC, replacing the old Certificate of Fitness. It marked a new era of professional self-regulation, placing trust in the hands of qualified professionals and improved the delivery system. Since then, we have continued working closely with the government to refine the CCC framework, ensuring it remains effective. I've also been actively involved in drafting and reviewing key legislation such as Architects Acts and Rules to elevate professionalism, amendments to the Housing Development Control and Licensing Act, ensuring greater accountability in the housing sector, revision to the Uniform Building Bylaws, enhancing health and safety. Beyond legislation, I also serve on the advisory board for the Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan 2020, helping to define the city's vision for sustainable, people-centered growth. To improve the practice environment, I established and chair the PAM Contract Review and Drafting Committee with the mission to modernize the PAM 1998 forms of contract and align them with the evolving industry practices. After extensive consultation with stakeholders, we completely redrafted and published a PAM 206 contract forms, launched by the Minister of Works in 2007, and followed by the PAM Minor Works contract in 2012 to support smaller projects. I continue to serve on the Contract Review Committee, which resulted in the publication of the PAM 2018 forms. Both the 206 and 2018 editions remain among the most widely used standard building contracts in the private sector, a testament on how sustained efforts can improve industry practice. Together with 3 co-authors, we, on a voluntary basis, published a PAM 206 contract handbook, a practical reference to help all stakeholders better understand contract administration. Launched by the Deputy Prime Minister in 2010, the handbook has since become an industrial guide promoting consistency and professional competency across the construction ecosystem. When the CCC framework was introduced, we committed to the government and the public that LAM would act as a stakeholders for the fee deficit, ensuring accountability and eliminating perceived conflict of interest. I was part of the committee that helped develop this stakeholders framework, which has since been successfully implemented, marking another important step forward in reinforcing trust and good governance within our profession. I've always believed that sustainability is not an option. It is our responsibility. Every line we draw, every space we create, carries a duty to protect our planet and safeguard our future generations. My journey in this area has been about embedding green agenda into the very DNA of our profession through advocacy, collaboration, and design. I was involved in the formation of Green Building Index Sundram Mahat, a joint initiative by PAM and ACEM to develop Malaysia's own green rating tool, the Green Building Index, GBI. I served as a director for many years, and we worked to advance the GBI framework so that sustainability become practical, measurable, and accessible to all. At the global level, I also contributed to the UIA Durban Declaration 2050 imperative, a shared pledge to achieve zero carbon emission by 2050. And during my term as UIA SG, the UIA 2030 Award was launched jointly by the UIA and UN Habitat, celebrating projects that make a real difference, proving how architecture can drive social, environmental, and cultural transformation. The first UIA 2030 Awards presentation took place during the World Urban Forum 11, recognizing architects advancing sustainable development. The UIA SDG Commission also developed the UIA Guide to the UN 17 SDGs, a practical roadmap, empowering architects to contribute meaningfully to a more sustainable future. I also believe that architecture carries a moral and social responsibility. As architects, we have the power to improve lives, foster inclusion, and create environments that build communities. My commitment to social responsibility began early in my career. I contributed to the drafting of the Malaysian's first standards for access for the disabled, public buildings and outside buildings, laying the foundations for inclusive design in our country. In 1999, I initiated Architects Meet the Public, a free advisory platform connecting architects directly with the public. And later, in 2012, inspired by Architecture for Humanity, I helped establish the Malaysian chapter focusing on community-based projects. Here are some of the community initiatives I've been honored to be part of, from public advisory services to collaborations with NGOs. Each reflect a shared belief that architecture can be a force for compassion, inclusion, and social good. My passion for this inspired the creations of inaugural Acacia events on social responsibility, focusing on key themes such as disasters preparedness and post-disasters recovery, universal design, affordable housing, cultural heritage, and this agenda has since become one of the features of Acacia's congresses and forums. We held a roundtable that led to the adoptions of Acacia's Roundtable on Social Responsibility, and through the ACSR committee, we later spearheaded the development of the Acacia Charter on Social Responsibility, adopted by all the member institutes, and this is indeed a proud milestone that continues to guide architects to practice with purpose and compassion. When the Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines, we organized a donation drive to help to rebuild a school through the United Institute of the Philippines, and this experience inspired the development of a post-disasters management framework, which evolved into the Acacia's Emergency Architects Initiative and provided a framework for guiding recovery and rebuilding with resilience. And during the Nepal earthquake, we continue our humanitarian efforts, reaffirming that architecture is not only about creating buildings, but also about rebuilding communities and restoring hope. Another key focus of my journey has been promoting design excellence, which lies at the heart of our profession and defines who we are as architects. Yet, true excellence goes beyond aesthetic and innovation. It is also about nurturing the next generation to carry the spirit forward. To advance this ethos, we revitalize Acacia's key platforms, beginning with the Acacia's Awards for Architecture, transforming it into a prestigious regional celebration of design excellence. New categories on social responsibility and sustainability reflected our shared commitment to people and the planet. We also launched the Architecture Asia Awards for emerging architects and formed the Acacia Committee for Young Architects, giving young professionals a stronger voice and a platform for leadership. We reimagined Architecture Asia, Acacia's official journal, into a publication celebrating the creativity and identity of Asian architecture. It continues to serve as a bridge for dialogue and recognition of Asian architects on the global stage. While nurturing design excellence and young talent is vital, empowering women has remained especially close to my heart. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not mere slogans. They are the foundations of a stronger and more resilient profession. I had the honor of chairing the UIA Committee on Gender Equity, where we champion global change through action and policy. We developed the Cartoon Declaration and formulated the UIA Gender Equity Policy in Architecture, adopted by the UIA General Assembly. I also co-authored the UIA Declaration on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, reaffirming our shared commitment to ensure that every architect, regardless of gender, background, or geography, are given equal opportunity to thrive and lead. I continue this mission through PAM, and during my term as chairman, we published a PAM Declaration and Policy on Gender Equity in Architecture. Our work went beyond policies. It was about transforming culture and mindsets. As the conversation evolved, we expanded our focus to diversity, equity, and inclusion, because when we open doors to every voice and embrace diverse perspectives, we expand our creativity and enhance our collective impact. Design for Health and Well-being is another initiative of great significance to our profession. This initiative places people's well-being at the center of design. There's growing evidence that well-planned, sustainable environments directly improve public health and well-being. To achieve this, we must promote awareness, education, and collaborations within the profession and beyond. Dr. Maria from WHO once referred to architects as Minister of Health, underscoring our responsibility for people's well-being. I often think of architects as doctors of the environment, shaping spaces that heal, uplift, and inspire. Architects have an ethical duty to design inclusive and sustainable spaces that promote healthy living. Every design decisions we make, from layouts to details, affect how people live, work, and feel within our spaces. And during my term, designing for health became a central focus of the UIA, aligning with the General Assembly's declaration of 2022 as a UIA Year of Design for Health. Together with the UIA Public Health Group and the WHO, we developed many initiatives encouraging architects to embrace their responsibility to protect, promote, and restore health. We organized webinars and launched design awards and competitions to encourage innovations and creativity. Through these efforts, the UIA reaffirmed its commitment to placing health and well-being at the center of architecture. I would like to take a moment to reflect on a few milestones, not as personal achievements, but as part of a shared journey shaped by the support, trust, and collaborations of many along the way. And these recognitions remind me that every honor comes with a greater responsibility to serve with integrity, empathy, and purpose, and to continue giving back to the profession and society that shaped me. I'm also deeply honored to have been conferred honorary membership by several other architectural institutes, and each of these milestones inspire me to look ahead, reminding me why the future we built together matters more than ever. As we look to the future, the cities we design must be smart, inclusive, sustainable, and humane. Architects will continue to play an evolving role, integrating technology, engaging communities, and contributing to policy reform. The theme of World Architecture Day 2025, Design for Strength, feels very timely, as strength in design goes beyond durability. It is about moral and social resilience and courage to design with empathy, to protect the vulnerable, and to create places that endure for both people and the planet. We do not merely design buildings. We design hope, opportunity, and the future of generations to come. Collaboration across disciplines, nations, and genders will be essential in shaping environments that truly serve humanity and the world we share. To the woman here today, lead with courage, passion, and integrity, as every time a woman leads with conviction, she expands the boundary of what is possible, and the sky is the limit. I strongly believe that together we can make a meaningful difference. I would like to end my presentation by reiterating this. Have a dream, but remember, a dream becomes reality only through passion, commitment, perseverance, and courage. Be amazing and be driven by passion, because no matter where you are and what you do, if you have the passion, success will follow. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia, Dato' Architect Tan Pei Eng, presenting such a remarkable presentation about shaping cities, shaping futures, a woman's journey in global infrastructure. And I think what's most important that we can take from her presentation is that her achievements remind us that true leadership isn't only what's visible on stage, but also the amount of unseen effort, the dedication, persistence that goes behind the scene to make success possible. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause to Yang Berbahagia, Dato' A.R. Tan Pei Eng. All right, our next session, we will have two remarkable icons in the world of construction and infrastructure, but we'll We're giving 5 minutes before we introduce our next session, but please bear with us and remember to our delegates to ensure that you have your QR codes all sorted out for your CCD and CPD points, and will also enable you to get your certificate of participations at the end of the forum. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I've mentioned just recently, this session will feature two remarkable women in construction and in the world of construction and infrastructure. But the first speaker leads one of Malaysia's most crucial infrastructure networks, the Managing Director of Plus Malaysia Berhad. Again, I think I know who this woman is. And an engineer with over 30 years of experience, she holds a Master of Science and Civil Engineering from the University of Miami, USA. Her career spans major infrastructure projects globally, including the Port of Miami Bridge, I-95 Highway in the US, North-South Expressway, Malaysia, Chikopo Palimanan Toll Roads, Indonesia, Manila Cavite Expressway, Philippines. She has held senior leadership roles in UM Groups and Opus, currently serves on the boards of UITM, CIDB, multiple plus subsidiaries. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Ni Arunani Jaafar, Managing Director of Plus Malaysia Berhad. And of course, joining her on stage today, we've heard some amazing numbers from Madam Zainora Zainal, Chief Executive of CIDB earlier on, with more than 27 years of expertise in CIDB. This is a session not to be missed, everyone. So without further ado, I hand over the session to Yang Berbahagia Dato and Madam Zainora.
Thank you, Madam MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome again to this afternoon session. Macam fire chat session pula. So I have Datuk Ni, couple of days back, almost midnight. I know she works hard, you know. So it was almost midnight. She called me, asking whether we can duet in this session, because it's afternoon, very challenging. Kan, kalau bercakap seorang-seorang, people might fall asleep or just after a heavy and good lunch. So she suggested that we have this, and of course, how can I say no? She's my board of director. Okay, so a little bit of introduction. I think I don't think I need to have much introduction about Datuk Nick. As you all know, she's the MD of Plus, her current position. I'm not sure about other boards, but she is on our board of directors, CIDB board of directors. I think for the fourth term, coming to third term, I pun dah lupa. So among the board members, yang paling senior lah rasanya. Yeah, I think you are the most senior. So that's why our minister refer to her on a lot of things. If they nak tahu the in and nak tahu about CIDB punya in and outs kan. So in fact there was one time yang she was not continue on time. Tapi minister called her and insisted that she continue again. That's how much our Minister of Works appreciate Datuk Nick contribution to CIDB. So Datuk, I do not want to cakap lebih sikit. Let us hear from her. Perhaps we would like to hear your personal journey. How did you get here? Where you are now? What made you mold that you to be the person that you are now today?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all. My fellow ladies from all organizations that are here today. First, I have to say thank you so much to Puan Zainora. Yes, I called her about not exactly midnight lah, 10 something. Okay, I actually still recovering from a bad cough and flu. So I felt it's better for me to interact rather than to give you a keynote address. So just a bit about me. I think Datuk Nafisa has actually requested me to be here today to talk about my journey, how I started off, and I'm happy to share so that with the intention that whatever I've shared with you guys would also be able to help you guys how to progress in this challenging line, especially the engineering construction project and everything. So I started off as an engineer when, basically I was studying University of Miami, Florida. I completed my degree in 1985. Then at that time, it was quite a big recession in Malaysia. Then I told myself, okay, I don't want to go back home. It would not be great for me to come back home because the situation is quite difficult at that time. So I decided, tak apa, it's okay. I decided to continue. Yeah, if you all see up there, it's actually home of Miami Hurricane. Miami Hurricane is our football team. I'm a big fan of American football at that time. I decided to stay on to continue my master's in engineering because I knew if I were to return back at that time, I may not have a job because even people under scholarship tak dapat juga job with the government. So I said, okay, let's continue my master's. And at that time, I wasn't sure. There was 85. And at that time, I thought, okay, how do I go? How do I go to do my studies? No scholarship, no nothing. So decided to explore, okay, let's try to apply for scholarship from the university. That's the thing. I think at that point of time, decision and the need to explore the something that have not been done, and at that time none of the Malaysian students were offered any scholarship by university. So I tried to apply. Then Alhamdulillah, they granted me a scholarship from the university, and I started doing my masters. And due to the scholarship, I have to work. I have to give back to university. So I actually taught a couple of classes in engineering. That's where I started my exposure in an international platform, having to provide a class, engineering class, that was a soil mechanics class, to new engineering students, and they are all not just, it's international students, very few female students. That's how it started. Then after I completed my master's, I decided to continue, and I started my career as engineer again. I said, let's try to explore. Maybe there's a opportunity for me to work in an engineering firm in Miami, in the US. Again, I tried. First time I got the job, and what satisfied me was at that time that I think got me going is that I was the first female engineer this firm actually employed. And I think I progressed well, and that's where the exposure again, working under platform of engineering ecosystem with engineers from even from the States, even from Taiwan, from the Saudi, because it's an international consultancy firm. Then I decided I could have continued working there. Actually, I planned to actually working there. I only,
How many years were there? How many years?
About 2 years. That is because I was called to return back home lah. My mom said, I think my mom was worried that I would stay there, continue staying there, working there, and get married over there.
Takut dia kahwin Mak Saleh ni.
Betul. Because at that time, my sister has already staying there and married an American. So with that, I said, okay, let's. I came back home to Malaysia in I think 1989, I believe. 1989. That's when the North Expressway plus highway construction just started. So at that time, timing was right. I guess I was lucky, fortunate that I did some design and supervision work in the States, and then when I came back, there's this
the timing,
the mega highway is the mega super highway, like North Expressway project was just started, and immediately they employed me at that time under Group, under one project management company. So that gave me a progression from a consultancy design ecosystem into a project management ecosystem. So that's how it started. But since I joined Group in 1989, I've been serving various part of the group. Besides project management, then I went to a bit of construction aspect, and now into operations and general management. But along the way, the exposure was tremendous. I felt that, again, I was lucky to be in Group, because at that time Group was the infrastructure, national infrastructure group of the country. We were doing a lot of projects beside North Expressway. We had the link kedua or second crossing, and all other projects, even international projects like the Manila Cavite Expressway and Cikampek Parliament Expressway in Indonesia.
Builder, right? It was you.
It was Builders, Group, and so on.
Yeah. So I know Group at that point of time, as mentioned by Datuk Nick, they were I would say, if we go overseas, this is a story that we tell to promote our Malaysian services overseas, and they had a lot of track record. Just that it's a pity now. It's a pity lah.
Construction-wise, I think Group
no
has
longer,
since exited the
yes.
construction. The focus now is more on renewable energy, and as well as other services like water and so on.
So you heard just now Datuk Nick's journey. Yeah, when she after graduation she continued to do her masters, and in a way I feel that's why we can get along well. We had a similar something similar. Straight away work in Malaysia. I had a couple of years working experience. I was with GC Plessy and GPT telecommunication. So the experience working overseas, I suppose, bila we are out there, and you said you were the first female engineer. Dah first female Asian pula tu, kan? Imagine the challenge, or what she had to go through. Because my personal journey also, I remember when I worked in Peterborough, it's redneck area. When I walking along the corridor, they see me, they turn around, they turn away. I thought they couldn't pronounce my name, just because they couldn't pronounce my name. So but we felt like, kenapa pula they don't want to see us, kan? So it was quite hard, but after we break the ice, and I think when we are put there amongst non-Malaysians, kita survive. We learn to survive.
In fact, I believe that they are quite, we Malaysians, the way we work, how committed we are. I think when you work in an international organization, I see that Malaysian can perform well. And I think that don't fear, because we have the, the culture, the culture of commitment, the culture of sincerity. And that itself drives and helped me to actually do well in such organization. And I think after 6 months of me working there, they started to hire more female engineers. And the second female engineers, the firm hired was an Iranian engineer that's just completed her PhD in my university.
See, so even the company had their own journey. From all male environment, then have one female engineer, then they continue to have more. So that's good, actually. I would like to also, you mentioned just now that you were put in Group. You were in various positions. So how was it that the decision for you to be in certain area or certain skills that you get along the way? How was the involvement of your, especially to get to your leadership position now?
All right. Something that I realized, we have to actually believe in what we feel in that sense. Because I started off in Group in Opus in Kintakalas, project management. I started off as a bridge engineer. My job then, the reason why they actually hired me into this structural department, looking at all bridges, all the highways, North Expressway, all the bridges, I kind of reviewed all the design, the reinforcement, and so on. And they felt that, okay, I came from the States having experience in a bridge project. Okay, this is the right place. Is okay. We hired her to look at all the bridges north to south that is actually been designed by quite a number of consultants lah. Then I started doing that, and after 1 or 2 years of it, I can't do this. It's actually it gets to be so routine that I'm doing the same thing. And I know myself that I would not be progress well doing the same thing, because what I'm looking for is to do or to create something different, to
New challenges.
Yes, to develop something new, and to also manage people, because I was only involved in looking at drawings, reviewing drawings every day, and I cannot imagine myself doing that for so many years. So I requested for a change into a more general management, what we call project management, rather than into just structural engineering lah. So knowing what you want, what you can resonate with, I mean, what in your heart and what you feel, what you're passionate about, is very key in determining the path where you want to go. Don't force yourself to do what you don't like to do. Do something that you love to do. So that's how I have been progressing lah. Enjoying every bit of my job. That makes me perform better and make me, in a way, produce the best, produce something, try to be different, try to bring in different perspective, try to create different ways of doing things. I think that's key in any job that we are in.
So you heard just now, she requested, remember earlier in the morning, in my speech, women should always lupa nak minta, women don't ask. So this is something I feel that all women kena either beranikan diri ke ataupun get it out of their system. Doesn't mean that you ask you are aggressive. Doesn't mean that you ask for something that you know. Sometimes we have that mentality. Kalau kita minta tak manis. Mungkin our Asian culture. Yeah. So you heard what Datuk mentioned. She requested because she knew it doesn't suit her anymore. She has done 2 years of that work. She needs new challenges, and she knows what she wants. So you must know what you want, what you are passionate about. Yeah. I think that is also one of the what we can hear from Datuk Nick.
That's right, Zainura. I mean, for you all engineers or non-engineers who are actually working on various parts of the work, just ask yourself what is part. I mean, what part of the work, or what sector, what areas of the work that could make you feel giving, contributing, and what that could actually satisfy what you want to do. Because I think believing in what you're doing is very key in progressing well in any career. Believing what you want and making a difference on it. Yeah.
Okay. So I have one question here, Datuk. May not be, you may not be too comfortable to answer it, because I also, when that question was put to me, so I felt a bit uncomfortable. But I think it's something that we have to address or discuss about it. Because we are in the position, I'm as a chief executive and you are as an MD, we are in the position of power, you know. So sometimes people always kata, you give someone power, then you know who they really are. You can, without power, you tak nampak the person. They dapat a bit of power, then you know the real person, what the person is like. So how do you? Having power and managing people, how do you, how in your leadership, do you exert the power, or how do you manage that?
It goes with situation, Pazanura, because power is not just basically being dominant or being basically too directive. But certain situation calls for you to be directive, then you have to be directive, meaning that If you need to make certain decision, if you need to make a statement, if you need to make people realize what are the issues are, and you have to be very clear about it, you just have to say it out. But lots of times to me, on leadership side, one important thing is to understand your people. To me, when you look at the power is more the ability to influence people towards your vision, your way forward, your strategy for the organization. The power is about to get people together to drive, to progress all what the vision the company has. And I think that's, to me, one of the challenges in any organization is how do we glue people together. To me, gluing in an organization is very key. And research has also shown that gluing, or what we call it like social contract, basically, is the first thing, the key factor for any organization to progress in terms of innovation and technology as well. So, for example, in Plus, what first thing when I actually joined Plus about 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, is like, how do I glue everybody? How do we glue everybody so that everybody will be glued? Once everybody is glued, they will move as a force. Once they move as a force, you can achieve anything at all you want to achieve. So what I have observed in the last couple of years, that the gluing actually is the key factor in, enabling the organization to perform and to progress very well. I've gone through a couple of organizations throughout my journey. The first thing, when you see an organization, when they are actually disintegrated, that's where the problem is. So to me, the power of the leader is to actually be able to glue people, to influence them, and more importantly is to ignite the energy, basically to drive and to bring energy into the entire organization for them to have the spirit to commit and to perform, basically.
So as the number one, actually, you have the power, and power is not necessarily negative. Power, if it's directive, or is in another way, is the influencing, as you said just now. So we should know, or we along the way, you will know how best to use the power, and based on your experiences, your wisdom, you should.
You should know when to utilize them.
You have to use both.
Yeah.
Betul tak?
Betul.
Tak boleh.
Puan Zainura. I'm sure you face the same thing, right?
I do not know. I'm not sure whether my team agree with me, but.
So, in any organization, again, as I said, people and the sense of belonging for the purpose, and also the sense of belonging of wanting to drive any initiative, it goes back all the way to the people that you have. And I'm fortunate that the team that I have in Plus, they are great. They work together well. We do fight, not that we don't fight. We do fight with each other. I do fight with my colleague, even my subordinate. But then
healthy.
What matters, healthy fight. What matters, we glue back together again. So
professional about it. No?
Yes.
I always believe in a meeting you have your views, maybe differing views, but then you can agree to differ. Anyway, so I have this question here that I think you will be interesting to hear your response. And for those who have worked with you, often describe you as incredibly resilient, someone who faces challenges head-on and never loses sight of the bigger picture. Yes, I agree with this. Could you share what keeps you grounded and strong, especially when facing tough or uncertain times?
For me, I go back to the sincerity. What's the purpose of, what's your purpose being there, and what's the purpose of organization being there, and what is the overall objective of the organization or the team, basically. once you set the purpose, the objective, I think determination in bringing or produce the best towards the objective that keeps me in a way focused, grounded. Of course, along the way, there's always challenges, there are always issues, there's always crises. We have to deal with it. Then once you deal with it, then you just have to refocus and bring back the team together. Yang penting to me, yang more importantly is bringing the whole team together. Itu yang penting lah for me.
You hear the word focus many times mentioned by Dr. Nick. So this is how I think one of her characters that bring her to where she is today. You very focused. She set her mind to doing the right thing, whether it's for her team, for her family, for the organization. I think she will deliver. So that focus is what has get her where she is today, in my view.
Yeah, focus is very, very key. As I mentioned, there's so many distractions out there. It could be people distraction. It could be the authority distraction. So the focus, determination will actually help you, and passion to actually achieve the end game. That's what actually keep you and keep your team together.
Perhaps do we have time? About 10 more minutes or 50 minutes? 10 minutes? Perhaps I would like to open to the floor. You know, I've asked enough questions, I think, to Datuk Nick. If there are any would like to ask questions to Datuk Nick, please come forward. Don't lose the opportunity lah. Jangan buang peluang ni untuk tanya. Datuk Nafisa.
Tak ada somebody from the back first, yeah.
Okay, please. Ada mic tak? You have a mic? Tak ada mic. Yeah. Can I have this mic? Can I have this mic? Ada. Oh, Datuk Rose.
Hi.
Hello, Datuk Rose.
So it's a question that's posed to both of you. How are you able, as women, like you said just now, women in power, how are you able to convey your message, being in power, without intimidating those around you? How have you been able to moderate that? Because I don't know whether you have faced any, discrimination, maybe, in your careers. How have you overcome that? Whether it's a banker who you go to and you're asking for financing, or whether it's a colleague that you're going to want to participate in the project. So maybe both of you can share your experiences. How as a woman have you been able to overcome this?
You first.
Thanks, Datuk Rose. I believe, through my journey, I believe if you have actually done, or you are doing your work, or even you're carrying the task that you are doing, if you know you are hands-on and you know exactly the objective and you're hands-on, and when you face situation of where you need to actually demonstrate that, okay, this is my job. We know, we could do it well. We know what we're doing. We know a lot. I'm talking about the details of things, to be able to demonstrate that you're able to actually achieve what the organization wants you to achieve. I think that's where the key is. In other words, it makes no difference whether a woman is doing it, or me or doing it, or another person, a man is also performing it. as long as you can actually show or you can actually demonstrate that the outcome and the deliverables or the target that has been set to you is achieved, I think there's no reason for anybody to discriminate. Because for me, through my years, again, maybe I'm fortunate being in UM group. They provide equal opportunity to even a woman, as long as you have the drive, you have the energy to actually lead any initiative. That opportunity actually given to you. But importantly is for you to demonstrate that you are able to do it. And that itself is a measure that, yes, anybody can do it. It doesn't matter if it be a woman leader or a man, but the work itself could be delivered. So once, I think when something is tasked to you or assigned to you, deliver it to your best, and inshallah, I think everything will just progress well.
One more question. Okay, there is one more question. Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Hi
Salam.
everyone. I'm Safura from Samdabi Property. Just a question, or basically I'm curious to know and understand, for Dato also, Madam. Is there a moment in your career where you were underestimated, or you feel that you were underestimated, and how do you go about managing that situation? Thank you.
If I said no, of course not, because I think throughout the journey, I would say the first 10 years of my journey is not as easy. I think it's the process of establishing yourself, the process of to actually demonstrate that your capabilities, to demonstrate your leadership skill, to demonstrate your ability to drive an initiative, to see a project from start to the end. That opportunity earlier on is something that I did not get. It goes back to how you again communicate with your superior what you want to do. And I think if you feel that you are being underestimated or under-treated or somehow rather, you have to speak out. You have to speak out, and of course when you speak out, you have to find ways to do it in a manner that they see that you are actually looking for something that is more suitable, more suitable for your areas, and not so much so that basically that you are questioning whether you're underestimated or not. Never question, but look for ways, look for path for you to progress. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
I'll wrap up shortly. Yeah? Okay. You can hear what Dato' Dik has mentioned just now. As to do what you need to do, you must not be afraid to get down and dirty. That's my understanding. Yeah, from what I hear from what she's saying. Because if you want people to do to follow you, and if it's not enough, sometimes we just talk about it. You must be seen to be doing, walking the talk. So don't be afraid to do it or initiate it, and people will follow and see. Dia malu sendiri kalau bos dia buat kerja. But that doesn't mean that she's micromanaging. I don't think so. She knows.
I do sometimes micromanage. When I need to.
When you need to, if it's because of time constraint, I suppose you need to do it yourself, and verbalize. Yeah? I think this is what the message mentioned.
But I do understand. I think sometimes you feel that you're not being given the opportunity, or you feel that I think I can do better, but nobody is like looking at me. So you have to find ways to be seen.
To be seen.
It's important. You have to find ways to be seen. And I think during my early years, my younger years dulu, when I was about to establish myself, I was not so much just doing my work. I had to participate in a lot of activities a lot of things within me. I think Datuk Nafisa is like, you have to be seen by the whole company, by the whole organization, that you're not only your ability to do your work, your ability to organize any programs for the organization. That's how you progress. You have to be active. I think the word is active and steadfast, like in that sense. Anything that is thrown to you, you just grab it and deliver. I think that's my need, because don't just wait and wait for it to be assigned to you. Just go for it. I think the way is to go for it. Look and don't fear to do something different. Don't fear to do something beyond what you know. That's how it helped me. Basically, just be a bit adventurous, and do a bit of exploration in anything. It doesn't have to be your work, purely your work. It could be anything within the organization, or even outside the organization.
Okay, I think we have
One more question, one final
one
question.
final question. It's one question. Banyak question.
Datuk? Oh, Datuk.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Yas Harudin. Okay, I just want to get some input to Datuk. How about the under table kind of practice? We women like it, doesn't like it, we have to face it. As a contractor, sometimes we have to compete with the guys, always lose at the under table. So women full of integrity, we don't want to give. Definitely we won't give. Yeah, we won't give. But we will lose. In order to be like vendor to the Plus or any TMB or any kind of it, we as a woman contractor, as also having a problem. When we bid the tender, we always just fill the blank, but we won't get the tender because they already have under-table contractors ready. So, as the managing directors of Plus, have you faced this kind of it, or in your, how you say no to all this? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay, in Plus, we are the employer, we are the client, we let out tenders, but we don't tolerate any under table, above table or something like that. So we don't. We go purely proper tender evaluation, and everything is done in a very professional way with proper governance put in place. I assume you're a lady contractor wanting to make it, wanting tender for work. There's so many other ways to do it. It's how you market yourself, how you promote your organization, and at the same time, you have to have the right ingredients in your proposal in a tender. Saya rasa tak impossible. I've seen a lot of contractors led by ladies who have actually done very well. I have full confidence that women are more creative than men. Betul tak? But creative with integrity. InsyaAllah boleh. Yeah?
Okay, me. Okay, I'm just...
Yes, Datuk Nafisa, you've been waiting to ask this question.
No, actually, I'm asking a question, thinking that a lot of us, we want to hear it from you. Basically, many women look up to leaders like you and most of our speakers here that we've called. So I'm just wondering, they might be wondering, can we really have it all? Do you feel you've managed to balance your personal life and career to get where you are today? Or did it come with certain sacrifices? It shouldn't come from me, the question, but I'm just, would like to hear from you.
Again, I would not say that it doesn't come with sacrifices. in pursuing your career, of course, there's a lot of commitment, sacrifices. And again, I would say I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate enough. I would say that I had a very supportive partner. He himself was an engineer. I think it's through the partnership, the support that I could progress well. There's no question, there's no issue of trust, there's no issue of dominance, power being a man. We share the talk about our work. We both share the values that both of us have to progress in our career. So I think that's the main or key reason that I could progress because of the support. I cannot imagine another husband because I don't think I can make it in this. In other words, it's very important that your partner understands you, support you. Because the last time I think about 20 over years ago, and I was like working in this, I was like basically head of maintenance. Every time there's slope defects, slope failure, ada hujan, lebat, I have to straight away 2-3 pagi pun, I had to go to site. I had to leave my house, I have to leave my family and everything. But the understanding of my work and the understanding and importantly the trust of what I want to do, my purpose of my work, I think makes it easier for me and for my partner to actually support me. And although I lost my husband about 10 years ago, I still feel that his support is always there, and I'm doing this also for my family. I'm doing this for my kids, and more importantly, I'm also doing it for myself. So that's important, and the feeling balance is not just about the amount of time you spend, it's the quality of time you spend, and what matters most to your family, for your kids. And although I say that the fact that I don't have a partner now, my husband is, I think, left me about 10 years ago. He passed away about 10 years ago, but what I'm doing now, I'm also being a father to my kids. So it's the same thing, is how you balance your focus, not so much so balance your time. To me, focus is important, walaupun time tu tak banyak, tapi focus tu very important, and the quality of, and one thing I realized, communication is very important, how you communicate with your children, and also even in the organization is also communication. To me, if you need to not to be happy, you need to state that you're not happy. If you feel that you're happy, you have to state you're happy. To me, there's the openness. Yes, there's no such thing of me keeping everything. Same thing to my staff, to my team. If the thing that I'm not happy, I'll just be frank about it. We can talk about it and we close it off. So having balance, having everything. I won't say everything. Having what matters to you, what really matters to you. And I think I should want to hear from Puan Zainura juga. What,
no, I'm not on the limelight. You are on the limelight. I'm just
being the CEO of CIDB, a mother. And I would say, I mean, she's also, I'm looking up to Puan Zainura because we've known each other for quite some time, and I've seen her progress very, very well. And I think one of her, time for me to talk about you, one of her qualities to me is actually her, how to say, her warmth and her sincerity in addressing, in communicating, and in managing her team. And I think that brings a lot of value to IDB nowadays about the engagement with the rest of the stakeholders.
Thank you, Datuk Nick. Just now you hear the word focus again, focus, quality time, openness, being transparent, communication. I think those are the key words, and it applies not just with you and your partner, with your kids, with your family, it also with your colleagues, with your subordinates, your bosses. It applies across the board. One day, the person that you deal with, one day, now maybe they are your subordinate. In future, you don't know, they'll be your boss. So if you treat them bad, like dirt, it'll be not good. So I always, how I see people, I don't care whether you are the cleaner or you are the CEO or the minister, you treat them the same. with respect. Give them the respect. Yeah. So that's my philosophy. That's how I handle people or whoever I meet, whether it's local Malaysian ke, international guests ke, or international companies ke that I meet. And that sincerity, if you do your work or you talk this, show that it will go through, because it's not something. And another thing, I'm being a Capricorn, kan? Don't break my trust. That part I tak boleh. I cannot. Once I don't trust someone, I just won't look at it again. So don't break my trust. With my team also the same thing. If I've tried as much as possible to put you on the path, but you still cannot perform, cannot do, then that's enough. I will not just look at the person. So that's how I manage my ni lah. But support system too is true. I think I cannot be where I am now without a support system, be it from family, be it from your spouses, friends. It's all around us. Is kita yang should reach out. Yeah, we should reach out to get support.
That's something that I totally agree with Puan Zainura lah. Support system is very important. Of course, if you have a partner, it's a support system for your partner. And to me, friends, yeah, your friends, your school friends, your college friends, they have to be there for you, and your family, your siblings, and so on. But you must always be engaged with them. Meet up your friends. I mean, there's a saying that we ladies, we need to meet up at least once a month. Otherwise, we just be dry and not happy. So meet up your friends at least once a month. You could be your friends, your school friends, or your other friends, even your jiran or whatever. Build up that infra, and that will keep you going. That's actually what helped me to pull through lah. Whatever cabaran you have in this life and in your career lah, and so on.
Okay. I think we have finished. Okay, cut off our time. So thank you, so Datuk Nick, and everyone. I think thank you, Datuk Nick, for sharing with us your personal journey. How did you get to be where you are now? Your views on leadership. What makes you be able to be sustained until the position that you have now, and balance between balanced life, yeah, between work, family time, family life. So I think you have done a good job. We all admire you. We all wish we are like her, kan? Semua kan? So let's give a round of applause to Datuk Nick.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Madam Zainora Zainal for moderating this session. Thank you so much, Madam Zainora, Chief Executive of CIDB. And of course, million thanks to Yang Berbahagia Datuk Ni Arina Ni Jaafar, Managing Director of Plus Malaysia Berhad. In a short span of time, we have learned so much. A lot of paradigm shift are due to be made to be paving our way into a successful and, of course, a well-balanced work-life balance. It has been an amazing journey, and it's not going to stop anytime for them soon. In fact, they're paving more way. They're paving more paths to success. Thank you again to Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Ni Arina, for this sharing session, and thank you to Madam Zainora Zainal for sharing a lot of personal things that is directly linked to how is it like for us in the career line, especially as women. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce our speakers and moderator for the next session, allow me to share 3 announcements with everyone here today. The first one, if you are any representative from any ministries or agency, please come and collect your document at the help desk, which is on the right side of the ballroom just outside. Kementerian Dalam Negeri, Kementerian Kerja Raya, Home Minister, Works Minister, and Majlis Amanah Rakyat MARA. So these 3 agencies and ministries, please make your way to the help desk quickly. And as for the certificate, you're eligible to receive the cert once you've completed all the sessions from morning till evening, and it's also applicable to your CCD and CPD points. Make sure you stay till the end of the session for you to do your scans. The third one is the QR feedback. So this is our QR feedback form. Please leave us your feedback. Only nice ones. Just kidding. We appreciate any constructive review, criticism, feedback to make our gathering beneficial to all, to everyone. So please take a quick moment to scan our feedback QR code. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, from one session of trailblazers to another, it is time for our next powerhouse discussion, Women Leading Transformation in Finance, Property and Manufacturing. This session will be moderated by Yang Berbahagia, Dato' Insinyur Rosalind Ganendra. She is a distinguished civil engineer with over 30 years of project management experience spanning 23 countries and 5 continents. A director in charge at Ganendra Ahmad and Associates, Berhad since 2019. An independent non-executive director at Southern Steel Berhad, she has contributed extensively to Malaysia's engineering landscape. She's a professional engineer with practicing certificate PPC with the Board of Engineers Malaysia, a fellow of the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, India and Australia, ASEAN Chartered Professional Engineer, APEC Engineer to name a few. And she's renowned for championing women in engineering, continues to inspire through leadership, professional development and advocacy for diversity. Joining her on stage are our panel guest speakers, Yang Mulia Tunku Afwida, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Noraini Sultan, and Puan Nadia Tan Abdullah. Please welcome our moderator and panel speakers who will be sharing their thoughts on women leading transformation in finance, property, and manufacturing.
How do we follow that? Very difficult, right? I was told that this would be after lunch and we'd have to, you know, kind of inspire you guys a little bit. So I'm just going to do a little bit of survey. So this session is about transformation. We've got 3 fantastic women, banker, a entrepreneur, manufacturer, human capital and transformation specialist, and they're here to share a little bit of advice to you. But maybe let's learn a little bit about our audience. Let's know who we are. Now, who among you are baby boomers, 1946 to 1964? Oh, I admit my age, you know. So I'm a baby boomer. So what have we suffered? We are the generation that have actually suffered the most with this transformation. When we started our careers, you know, most people had jobs for life. It was about stability, lifelong employment, predictable corporate and hierarchies. We knew where we were going. But by the time we retired, I'm not retired yet, just to inform you. Yeah. But by the time of retirement, there was globalization, automation, and the collapse of the job promise. We had an earthquake. There was no promises given to us, no retirement benefit plan. Okay, what about Generation X? How many people are Generation X? 1965 to 1980. You are so young. Oh my goodness. They look good for their age as well, don't they? So those of you in Generation X, you were raised in economic turbulence. You learned early not to trust institutions and become self-reliant workers. You bridged the analog and the digital world. I think that was the biggest transformation. Analog and digital, and you mastered new technologies while enduring job insecurity and constant restructuring. So, good guys to have on the panel. How many millennials are here? Those terrible millennial fellows. Are you all here? Oh, I can hear, I can see you. I can see you. So millennials endured adulthood during the Great Recession. Remember the 1990s recession? They faced debt, unemployment, and middle class eroding pathways. They adapted by embracing flexibility, digital innovation, and purpose-driven work at the cost of stability and financial security. Generation Z, how many of you young chikus are here? Any young chikus? God la, yeah, I can see you at the back. Okay, they joined the workforce during the pandemic destruction and the rapid AI expansion with remote work and default norm. Digitally fluent yet anxious, they navigate a hyper-connected world where speed, visibility, and adaptability are survival skills. Now, I assume that there's no Generation Alpha because they are 2013 to 2029. But let me tell you, I'm a boomer. So my song was, Rolling Stones song. I will, no, that's not, I will survive. I didn't survive. I had to adapt. I think the Rolling Stones song was, let me see. Anyway, I can't remember. I'm a boomer. Lost my memory. But I can tell you, my children, Generation Alpha, they are Ariana Grande. I want it. I got it. Give it to me, mommy. Give it to me, mommy. I want it. I got it. So that's our children. But these three women are now going to tell us how we have to prepare ourselves for transformation. What I'll do is I'll introduce each and every one of them. Then we'll go through and ask questions. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, so we start with our banker. Yeah, money first lah. Always money first lah. Okay. So where is our banker? Yeah, she got, she's done so many things in her life. I've got so many things to tell you about her that, I lost it. Give me 1 minute. Why is my computer not working? Okay. See, I told you I'm a boomer. It takes me time, huh? So, Yang Mulia Tunku Afrida binti Tunku Dato Abdul Malik is a seasoned investment banker, investment manager, and corporate leader with 3 decades of experience in the financial sector, even though she doesn't look it. Yeah. We agree with that, okay? She's a chartered accountant, ACA, and she has held top leadership roles as the CEO of Kanana Investment Bank, MIMB Investment Bank, and also as an independent non-executive chairman of Afing Huang Investment Bank, independent director of Telecom, and various other listed companies. She currently serves as a member of QUOP investment panel. So guys, she's looking after all our money. Better be nice to her, okay? And our nation's money, our future money, only civil servants are. Oh, your money, okay, your money then, Nora. And is an independent non-executive director of SAM Engineering, DXN Holdings, Enra Sendirian Berhad? Yeah, Andra Berhad. Recognized for her expertise in corporate governance and financial strategy, Yang Mulia Tunku Afrida has contributed to advancing Malaysia's economic development and infrastructure financing. Okay, so let's go to our next entrepreneur, Dato' Noraini. Dato' Noraini, she is the founder and managing director of Cipro Plastics Industry Sendirian Berhad, a male-dominated industry. With 3 decades of experience in Malaysia's manufacturing sector, she holds a Bachelor of Economics from the University of Malaya and an MBA from Ohio University, USA. Her entrepreneurial excellence has earned her numerous accolades
including the ASEAN Business Award in 2024, the NAWAM Woman Entrepreneur Award in 2023, the EY Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2008, alongside recognition from SMIDEC, Deloitte, Perniagaan Wati, and Dewan Perniagaan Malaya, is it Melayu, Malaysia? Yeah. So Datuk Noraini contributes to the national industry growth through leadership roles, serving as board director on the Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, a committee member of the Employment Insurance Scheme, EIS, vice president of FMM, the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, the vice president of MPMA, and the deputy president, and also committee members of University Putra Malaya, shaping academic and program environmental science and technology. My third panelist is Puan Nadia Tan Abdullah. Nadia is the Chief Human Capital Officer of Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad. And she drives strategic transformation across one of Malaysia's largest GLCs, a chartered fellow of UK's Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD. She brings over 20 years of leadership in human resources, organizational development, and change management. Previously, she was also the Chief HR Officer in SB Setia, Experian GDC Malaysia, Asia X, Microsoft, and Nestle. Nadia has been recognized as an HR Icon 2024 by ECHR World SEA, Southeast Asia, I presume, and is passionate about building inclusive cultures. She champions world leadership, women's leadership, and next generation of transformational leaders in Malaysia and beyond. So, my first question, all about money, huh? Can, huh? Okay, yeah. It's all about money today, huh? Only for her, okay? So, Tunku, let's put one question to you, which is going to, I think, be interesting. With your, but guys, you can chip in, it's informal, right? Tunku Afrida, with your decades in investment banking and corporate governance, how have women's voices reshaped financial leadership in Malaysia's boardroom, embodied by you?
Thank you, Dato' Rose. She's also my friend, whom I don't see very often, so I guess we should have that lunch sometime, yeah? I think for me, from my perspective, we have come a long way, women in Malaysia. I think when I first started out just a long time ago, I wanted to be in private equity, and nobody's heard of that in Malaysia when I came back from London. And I went into investment management, and then went into investment banking, etc. But anyway, compared to those many years ago, today, what we see in the financial landscape, 3 out of 5 digital bank CEOs currently are female. And there used to be 4, but then one of them got promoted upwards, and one lady in particular is a bank, a CEO of a bank, a traditional bank. So we've come a long way, and I'm happy to note that women are in places today where they were not, 20, 30 years ago. So well done to the women of Malaysia. Women are a lot more visible today at the top. We see, even when I was in telecom, I've been in a lot of big companies, Gamuda, etc. Today, it's good that Bursa SC has given the 30% chance to ladies to be at the top, at the board level. Bursa minimum one lady director at the minimum. So today, we see a lot more women, and it's not just the push factor, but it also reasons why women have to be at the top. They bring a lot of diversity, etc. So today it's almost a sin not to have any women at the top. You know, I mean, it is a sin actually. If you go to any boards, there are no women here. You know, it's almost a sin. Dato' Rose. I'm happy to say that today, female members, I've been on quite a few boards for the last, I think, maybe 10, 15 years, because I retired early at 42. I think I retired at 42 or 43, 42, 41 or something like that. So I've been on boards for quite some time. Today, the female board members and C-suite leaders are, actively shaping governance mainly and a risk appetite, ESG priorities and talent pipelines as well at the big corporates especially. And the boardroom conversations have reframed from, just purely, this is a bank, at the financial institutions, from the purely profit driven to purpose-driven finance today. We see a lot more of that, at the committees, especially at the banks. And even at co-op level, there's a lot of ESG and women. We have a lot of women leaders at co-op as well. I'm happy to note that. The emphasis today is more on long-term sustainability, inclusive access to finance, and ethical risk-taking. Investment banks and banks are now integrating ESG frameworks, gender lens investing, and inclusive growth metrics into deals and risk evaluation processes. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, probably you don't understand, maybe you can ask me later, I will elaborate, but I'm just going to go through the parameters, basic parameters right now. And empirical evidence, you have happy to note that women tend to foster collaboration, question unchecked risk-taking, and encourage data-backed debate at the board level as well. So today, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI for short, are strategic assets today at the board level. It is also said that the growing presence of women in boardrooms have proven to enhance financial resilience, investor confidence, and long-term value creation as well for the companies. Generally, women leadership styles are one, strengthening governance, enhancing transparency, and aligning financial innovation with ethical responsibility. Yeah, that's basically in a nutshell. But I can elaborate further if you. It's just there's so much to say. So if you want, I can answer questions later. Thank you, Dato' Rose.
Yeah, so you heard it from here, from the banker herself. Women, those of you who feel that you need money, go and approach your banker. You heard it from here. So thank you, Tunku. Shall I move on to Dato? Dato Noraini, you're fantastic entrepreneur extraordinaire. Founding Spiro Plastics, male-dominated industry, which grew into a major supplier to Malaysia's automotive and electronics industry. What transformation journey did you lead with the traditional male-dominated manufacturing landscape? How did you do it?
Right. Thank you, Dr. Rosalind. Now, before I actually share on the transformation journey, maybe I would like to give a little bit of background on CIPRO, but our company. I started the company way back in 1992, which is 33 years ago. And I realized when I embarked the journey, it's not going to be easy because there were already many competitors in the environment. I started, I chose to strategically chose and bought a factory in Shah Alam, a small factory, and still around until today. Started with 2 employees and with only 2 machines. Now we have 3 factories, and we expanded in Sungai Petani, Kedah, and also our main plant now is in the Bukit Beruntung. We do have now 60 over machines, very large machines, and more than 400 over employees. So CIPRO is actually a mid-sized company. Obviously, if it's under the SME Corp, our company did not even qualify as SME. They're considered as large. But I would actually challenge and say our company is a mid-size, a mid-tier company. Now, when I first started, I think it was very important strategically to have a factory near your customers. Hence, that's the reason why I have a factory in Shah Alam. And the fact that in Shah Alam there were many electronics company. The E&E is doing well as the automotive. There was Proton already there in Shah Alam. So it is very important that I decide to partner with a Japanese company. That is where I would say I started my early journey. After 1 year of incorporation, I managed to tie up with a Japanese partner. And until today, I have actually more than 4 technical partners in terms of technology collaboration. Maybe I would like to share way back in the 90s when I first started up. It is not easy to deal with Japanese. It's different right now. Like, my TA partner is Japanese, and my customers are also Japanese. For example, Canon is my customer, then Canon camera. And now they have closed down. And also my customer in 1993, we also secure Sony Electronics in Penang. Unfortunately, they also closed down already now. But to deal with the Japanese is not easy. They are very, very culturally, I think I'm sure of you knows, culturally male-centric. When I go to Japan, for example, when I see my partner, when I communicate with him, he would actually responded everything and talk to my manager, who's a male. It's very difficult for him to actually acknowledge a woman entrepreneur. So his eyes will be turning to my staff, but my staff felt so uncomfortable, and then he showed, this is my Sacho, which is my MD. So this kind of experience I have to go through, but not anymore. Now it's okay. And same goes with my customer. When I visited to our customer's factory, Canon in Shah Alam, apparently the Japanese was also observing the way I drive my car, the way I park my car, and they were surprised that I follow the rule. So, even to that extent. But having said that, all those were history, and we managed to grow from one factory to a second factory in 1996, and 2007, we set up another factory, and we also expanded another factory in 2011. Hopefully, within maybe a year or two, we will also expand further. And that is the journey that I've gone through. And I realized the importance of early tech adoption. In our organization, we need to improve in our technology. We need to upgrade our facilities. I would say CIPRO, we adopt a lot of automation. We have all our machines are with robots, robot arm. We also have collaborative robots. We have additive manufacturing. We want to be, at least if it's not the same, we want to be ahead of our competitors. Be it ladies, or women, or men, but as it is now, we are still, I would say, maybe the only female manufacturers supplying to Perdua as well as Proton. So, and besides the technology part, I think in CIPRO, we emphasize a lot of culture, in innovation. For that matter, our tagline in the company is passion for innovation. I encourage my team to continuously look at any new ideas, be it in the product technology or even in the process technology. This is the culture in our company. And I'm happy to say that if you come to our company, you can see dashboards in the production line. I have live data of my production process just using my handphone. I know what's going on. I know what's the production, whether there's a failure, whether there's downtime. All this in line with our government's aspiration to have 3,000 smart manufacturing factories. So these are among others that our company has been doing. I do train my staff, whether locally, internally, as well as internationally. All these kind of exposures actually help us in continuously transforming our own organization. And when it comes to gender, I would say that I have about 60 engineers, and head of department, at least 50% of the head of department are lady engineers. I myself is not an engineer, but I do employ many engineers, right? Okay. So we also comply to global standards, all sort of global standards. Our company comply, and all this helps us in our transformation journey, continuously innovating to improve our quality, productivity, as well as to remain competitive. I think that's about all I would like to say for now. Thank you.
So thank you. So risk-taking, strategic thinking, being in the right place at the right time, and hard work. Hard work, guys. That's what being an entrepreneur means. 24/7 on the job, right? Okay, so let's go to Noraini then. Noraini. What am I talking to? I've just spoken to Noraini. Puan Nadia, sorry. You've led transformation in some of Malaysia's biggest organizations, from Malaysia Airport, SP Setia, and others. What defines a people-centric approach to corporate transformation?
Thank you, Dato' Rose. It's good to see many women in this room. I noticed there's few men. I think the men might feel quite awkward there. I know I have a team from Malaysia Airports, but I also have some of my previous colleagues from Setia. Yes, when Dato' actually introduced me more than 20 years, you upgraded me because I've spent more than 30 years already. And yes, when we look at transformation, it's always easier said than done, because most transformation feels like it's a big mega thing. And honestly, I always like to use the word reboot, because I find that whenever we use the word transformation, it's almost an insult to the people who've been there before, right? Because then the people say, oh, what do you mean? I wasn't doing anything. So transformation can come in many, many different phases. Have you all heard of this phrase called culture eats strategy at breakfast by Peter Drucker? How many of you have heard of it? If not, you can Google it out. It's a famous quote, and it's truly true, because what it says is that you can have the best strategies, but if your culture is not right, it ain't going to happen, right? So in driving transformation, I always feel number one, first things first, is to try and have that clear vision at the top. Because most often, we tend to come up with something at the top, and it's so complicated, it's so gempak that as we bring it down to the organization, then people don't understand it. So keeping it, first having clarity and making sure that everyone else have a skin in it. I always believe in, and actually practice it in Setia and also in Malaysia Airports, for example, when we have a HR blueprint, for example, and say, okay, this is the 5-year plan. These are the key pillars. So for example, in Malaysia Airports currently, if I were to ask them and say, because we've done this roadshow,
Because once we have it, we're not just talking about it at the top, because then we'll like short sendiri lah, you know, it doesn't come down. So from a HR perspective, in Malaysia airports, we have the STAR, S being sustainable, high-performing culture, T being top employer brand, and A being having agile and inspiring leadership, and R being robust talent pool. So we go by this pillar. Each of the pillars have got all the key initiatives. This is just the human resource side. But of course, you've got the business plan and all the other transformation strategies that you have. Having done that and sharing it across to every level is important. But also when you share it across the level, I believe that the language has to be tailored to the audience. Because sometimes, you know, you get into this town hall or any sessions where, you know, people are talking and with all these very big words, but the audience who's supposed to absorb and embrace it don't really understand. So keeping it simple so that it can be practical and embraced very well. And I'm sure, Dato', you've done so many of it, right? Kalau macam too sexy and all that, it sounds really nice, but it's not practical. But the most important thing is to humanize the thing, and I call it the 3 Ps. One is the policies, second is the practices, and the third is the people. So when we talk about policies, whatever transformation we do, sometimes it does not go hand in hand. We talk about transformation, say for example, we say, let's talk about moving our workforce to be more agile. However, agile means very flexible, adaptable. However, our HR policies are still zaman Tok Kadok lah yang 20, 30 years ago, and it's not flexible. So you're confusing the workforce. Practices. Whilst we have the policies, and this I often find it quite interesting because especially HR, sometimes, and I tell my HR team, please don't just follow policies and go by the book, because that's supposed to be a guideline. Because otherwise we don't need people. We just have a robot and say, okay, somebody asks, okay, clause 3.2 or whatever. I think that processes and practices has to come within context. And many times I find that when we have policies and we have changes, people don't know how to shift. I'll give a very simple example. Very, very simple, and you might be amused by this, right? So, for example, this happened in my previous organization, not in this organization. We had an engineer who had an accident. So I had a call from my HR team and say, hey, Nadia, we had this employee who had an accident. But how do we do this? Because based on his category, the ambulance is not covered. Because based on the policy lah. So then I said, yeah, but just call the ambulance and we talk about it later. I'm just giving simple example. And I think we hear this happen every day in our daily lives where we follow policies without thinking and we're not flexible. I think policies are there to drive certain transformation, but the real core of transformation is having the soul to really connect to what you want to achieve. As I said just now, the vision. And how do you rally the people? It's about humanizing the whole processes and ensuring that people will embrace it, they understand it, they have a skin in it, in the game, and they want to be part of the journey. So sometimes we see transformation is not successful because it's so aggressive. It's very number driven. Of course, we all have to drive numbers for shareholders, values and all that. But we must understand that everything else is actually driven by people. So in Malaysia airports, for example, essentially it's a people's business. We can have the best assets, the best whatever, but if you don't have the right services, you won't have the repeated buyers or purchases or clients or whatever. So I think for most of you here, you are in property and construction, it's the same thing. And I think the agility to evolve is so important. Agility to evolve, when we do transformation, we talked about it all the time, but we don't show our people, what do you mean by agility? Agility is not about changing decision many times. I've seen some leaders, they say, that's agility. Agility is not about changing decisions many times. Agility is about having to understand what needs to change and what need to happen for that change to happen, and how the leaders are supposed to be role modeling and showing the way. And in fact, Dato, I think that today the leadership has a different face altogether. I think in the past, maybe during the baby boomers and Gen X time, we didn't have, or I mean, if I say I'm showing my age, right, we didn't have Wi-Fi or internet, you know, laptops. You know, when I started working, you have no laptops. You finish your work till whatever time, and then you go home. But today, I think there is such thing as the Wi-Fi and all those things. So technology has evolved, but sometimes leadership has not evolved. So leadership is still, you know, when I say leadership at every level lah, it's still, and sometimes I hear leaders coming, hey, you know, during our time, tak ada pun macam ni. See, I can see all the Gen Ys all smiling and nodding, because all your bosses are like that, yeah. I nampak tu, ha, right? Nodding. So my role in HR is to really try and make sure that every leaders hop on that change, you know, And when we have Wi-Fi, we have laptops, and all, we should allow them to go back and decide on what they want to do, because today is all about personalization. And every, you know, individuals have got different plans, and how they want to solve the workload is very different. I think if I look at our people in terms of diversity, I remember I have two kids, two boys. My boys are 27 and 23. But when I had them, we didn't have nursery rooms. We don't have all those flexibilities and work from home and so on. But today, I think we all are privileged. We have that. And that helps transformation in the business to be much accelerated, because enablers are there. Maybe I'll just pause here.
Yeah, I think the human capital, human resources, which is a very important pillar in any corporation, in any industry, in any institution, sometimes is unappreciated. And what you're telling us is it's got to be adaptive, it's got to be transparent, it's got to meet the people's requirements. So thank you for that eye-opener for those of us who are here. But I think also one of the things is it should be interactive as well. More feedback that you get from your people, the better you are able to understand them, right? So I think, Tunku, you said you retired early, but on this subject, Tunku, you also transformed yourself. You retired early, but I think you're working harder now. It's so difficult to get an appointment with you. We're trying to have lunch. We can't have lunch because it's too busy. It's so busy. So maybe you can share with us also on this transformation as an individual, how you had to also adapt, and then how you have shared that journey of how you transformed from being a full-time employee to now being such an influential person in our banking sector, in our investment sector, you know.
Yeah, Datuk Rose, I'm a bit of a kamikaze person. I have this sink or swim type of mindset. That's me actually. You know, so you know when I first came back from London, I got a job as Rashid Hussain asset management, as you know, as an analyst, investment analyst, fund manager. So okay, because there was no private equity, I left. You know, I took a 90% haircut in terms of salary to come back to Malaysia. But I did it, and I will never go back to London because I'm so happy in Malaysia. I mean, you know, I had to start my journey in Malaysia. You know, there was nothing going on in London at the time. It was going through some really terrible times. I didn't have a good job. I wanted to be something. I wanted to be somebody, do something. You know, and so when I came back, Tan Sri Rashid gave me a job. I started there, and like I said, so I tried to transform my life, transform myself, and go into the investment industry. From I was a chartered accountant from my chartered accounting days, actually, and so that was my first transformation. And later on, I got bored with investment management because it was only equities and you know a bit of bonds, and it wasn't exciting after. You know, about 10, 11, 12 years, you know, in the industry. So I moved into investment banking. So that's another transformation. But okay, I didn't have the pay cut. But anyway, but that's, at least I said, okay, I'm going to do something else. I was not happy doing what I was doing, and I decided, okay, I just jump in and try to get this job, and I went for the best job that was on offer, and I got it. And for somehow, with my some luck on my side, I guess. And again, sink or swim attitude, and and Kenanga. When I was at Kenanga, it was at MIB, was my first investment banking job, and so I was there. Again, it was going through some. It wasn't very stable because at the time there was a lot of mergers happening. So I actually moved on to Kenanga. So in Kenanga, I actually got the investment banking license for Kenanga within 1.5. That was the transformation I did at Kenanga. So, it was a lot of work because from a stockbroker to become investment bank, I had to, bring people in, rejig the organization, look at the balance sheet, and, bring whole teams in departments like treasury, debt, capital markets, credit and assessment. I know you're all not into the financial industry, so I will not dwell upon it. But basically, within 1.5 years, I transformed in Kenanga Universal Broker at the time into Kenanga Investment Bank. That was my transformation. But, this work-life balance thing, of course, came into the picture. Of course, as always, I was thinking, oh my God, and what am I doing in my life? I'm trying to do a million things, yeah. So, actually, as a banker, you don't have much time for yourself. You just don't. You have meeting after meeting. There are committee meetings. There is, about I don't know how many audit committee, the treasury, ALCO. There's credit committee. There is a management committee, and also board committees as well. So there's like 10 to 12 committee meetings a month without the board meeting. A month. So I never saw my son, actually. I never saw him. So, and when I come home, he's like asleep. When I go off in the morning, he's not even awake yet. And weekends were spent. I go to Dubai Friday morning. I come back Monday morning, and then I go straight to work. It's just crazy. It is so crazy. So I decided, to hell with this. I'm gonna do my own thing from now on. So again, like I say, I'm a different creature. I have this, do or die attitude, actually. Either I have to do it, I either fail, I just do or die, this kind of mindset, which I know a lot of people don't have that, but I'm just born like that, do or die. So I decided to transform myself again and say, okay, I'm leaving this full-time job. I decided to try to do my own thing, and I went into the Asia Equity. I was a corporate finance. I had a corporate finance firm, which it's called Asia Equity Research. It's still there without me, there. But we built this corporate finance. But I wasn't full time, so I had it was more flexible because I was an owner, operator, etc. So that was fun. And then of course the job offers came for the board positions. I didn't really transform myself, Rose. I did not transform myself. I just decided to give up a few things because I wanted to do other things in my life, the work and life balance that everybody talks about. I decided to give up the 24/7 jobs, and no time for myself, and no time for my golf, no time for my leisure, because I love golf, hiking, and whatever. So there's a lot of question. I know a lot of people say, "Hey, how come you?" I say, "Well, never mind. It's okay. I'm gonna. This is not. It wasn't my purpose in life changed." And with that, my life changed.
So you heard it, guys. Hard work, more hard work, even more hard work. But guys, I'm so sorry. We are like having a little chit chat here. We seem to be running out of time. It's not enough time. But anyway, I've got to ask all of you all to share a message to everybody today. What would you do? All of you women, Dato, you also have done so much for the society, for the manufacturing industry. You contribute so much. And, I think that all of you have contributed so much to whatever organization you've been. So leave us one powerful message. One in, Dato, you start in manufacturing first, and then human capital, and maybe Lugovinda, you can end up with finance. One powerful message to send all of us. For all the people in this room. Guys, yeah?
Right. If I could share one message, Dato' Roslyn, it would be this: don't wait for permission, step forward, speak up, and lead for purpose. And I think whether it's finance, property, or even manufacturing, transformation actually begins with the courage to challenge the status quo. So actually, we don't need to fit a mold. Instead, bring your unique perspective, stay resilient, and lift as you rise. That's how real, lasting change happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Puan Nadia.
Okay, so for me, I think just do what makes you happy and fulfilling. I mean, life indeed is very short. We don't have much time. It will be a totally wasteful thing to be doing something or be in a place where you're not happy. So I'm just like Tengku as well. I'm a do or die kind of person. I mean, the minute it's not aligned to my values, or I'm not making me happy, I said, I'm getting out of this place because, you know, we have so much to give, so much to enjoy, and just be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. Just be yourself. Just be you.
Thank you.
I said a lot earlier, so you know, I don't be me. Yeah? I think that's my my part. Don't be me, because I think I'm a bit extreme. Be yourself, and because I think following what makes you happy is the best way forward. I mean, I think money is not everything. And I think if you have enough, you know, to travel, have a good life, etc. I mean, you know, it's you know, I mean, a good, a happy family life is just as important. You know, never lose sight of that. You know, I mean, you know, for me, my mom and dad passed on, but you know, sometimes I wish I had spent a lot more time with them. So it's things like that I mean, that really matters above everything else in your life. You need to prioritize, and don't think that, you know, being a CEO is the best thing for you. No, it may not suit some people. It may suit certain people. Like I was saying to somebody just now that, you know, there are a lot of Western women who don't have a family. That's why they choose to be a CEO, because it's easier to not have a family to be a CEO, because you can spend time all hours in the office. That's fine, because this is what they choose. But once you have a family, it's not easy. It's very tough, and there are a lot of choices you need to make. Yeah, but can I just, Dato' Rose, I just wanted to, because on the finance side, I wanted to do a bit of advertising for Co-op actually. You know, because I'm there, and I love this place, Co-op, and it's an amazing place, you know, and they have they launched two funds actually. One is Dana Apprentice, the other one is Dana Pemacu, over the last couple of years. And the first one, Dana Apprentice, I think in 2023, they have a fund size of about 500 million. And there are two pillars there. One is investment into Malaysia-focused VC funds, venture capital funds. And the second one is direct investment into promising early-stage Malaysian companies, which is probably not so relevant to you. But anyway, I think the other one, which is Dana Pemacu, this was announced in May 2024. And with a 6 billion ringgit in capital commitment by Co-op. 50% of that, which is the 3 billion, is earmarked for Sharia compliant investments. Now the fund will operate via separately managed accounts in partnership between local talent and global investment managers, involving 3 asset classes, yeah? Private equity, infrastructure, and real estate. So this is a big fund, something perhaps you can look at, you know, in future, something for you to think about. So anyway, they have already, they've got 12 fund managers already globally, and the target sectors, again, just now, food security, education, silver economy, healthcare, energy transition, digital economy, and financial inclusion. There are 12 managers, there are 4 infrastructure managers, climate fund managers, digital bridge, I Square Capital, number 4 is Saraya Partners, and real estate, Castle Forge Partners, Land Lease Investment, Savills Investment Management, and Trust Capital Advisor. They are supposed to be investing in Malaysia. So this is why it's important for me to, this is why I wanted to talk about Co-op, you know, so there are these monies which are available for, you know, for for companies like yourselves, real estate infrastructure, if you have anything interesting, you can talk to Quap actually, or their investment managers.
What about manufacturing? Dato is sitting next to you, maybe.
This is the infrastructure and real estate.
Oh, infrastructure one.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So thank
that's
you. They really have to shut us up. We really have to shut down now. I want to thank my distinguished panelists for sharing not just your expertise, but your courage to transform. And from human capital to the boardroom to manufacturing, you've shown that women's leadership drives sustainable progress. Thank you so much, the three of you. Thank you. I'm sorry I had no time for questions, guys. Next panel.
Thank you very much. Yang berbahagia Datuk Insinyur Rosalind Ganendra for moderating the session, and thank you to our panel speakers, Yang Mulia Tunku Afwida, Yang berbahagia Datuk Nurani Sultan, and Puan Nadia Tan Abdullah. Ladies and gentlemen, before we invite our next moderator and our guest speakers, allow me to introduce our moderator for the next session. Architect Almas Salma Abdul Rahim is the founder and managing director of Almas Architects Sdn Berhad. With over 40 years of professional experience and more than 250 projects completed across Malaysia. A graduate of the Bartlett School of Architecture UCL, she founded her practice in 1994, blending contemporary Malaysian expression with biophilic and climate-responsive design. Her ISO 9001:2015 certified firm champions BIM technology and sustainable innovation. An award-winning architect, Almas has received the Luxury Lifestyle Award 2024 for Best Luxury Architecture, CIDB Excellence Award, National Design Accolades 2008-2009, Anugerah Ibu Cemerlang Nona and the Edge My Dream Home Silver Award, cementing her legacy as a design pioneer. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our moderator, Architect Almas Salma Abdul Rahim, joined by Yang Berbahagia Datin Dr. Hajar Hartini Osman, Dr. Shafrina Sharif, Puan Farah Othman, and Mr. Ibrahim Sani.
Can you hear me? Assalamualaikum, good evening. I would like everyone to rise. Okay, we're going to get you to shake about a little bit before we sit down and continue the next panel. All right. Music, please.
When I dance, they call me Macarena, and the boys they say que soy buena. They all want me, they can't have me, so they all come and dance beside me. Move with me, chant with me, and if you're good, I'll take you home with me. Move with me, chant with me, and if you're good, I'll take you home with me.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Now don't you worry about my boyfriend, the boy whose name is Vitorino. I don't want him, couldn't stand him, he was no good, so I. Now, come on, what was I supposed to do? He was on a date, and his two friends were so fine.
alaikum and good evening, participants. Now, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've heard about advocacy, leadership, and transformation. And now we come to our final forum, Leading Change, Building Futures. This is the moment we look ahead, what the young need, what the future demands, and what it takes for women, men, and all leaders to build a better world together. Joining me are 4 incredible change makers who each represent a different force of transformation: business, sustainability, human capital, and communication. Together, we'll discover not only how to lead, but how to inspire. A bit of fun fact, though, before we go on to the biodata. Datin Hartini has 9 children and 11 grandchildren. Dr. Shafrina was in New York in high school when the tragedy 9/11 happened. Farah, when she balik kampung, it's to California in the USA. And Ibrahim, he used to run 50-kilometer marathon. All right, now I'll give the biodata on Datin Hartini. Now, Datin Dr. Hajar Hartini binti Usman is the President and Group Managing Director of Prihatin Ihsan Holdings, Namrhad, an investment and property development company. She also serves as Chairman of Yayasan Bina Kesejahteraan, YB Care, Director of Yayasan Jambo Sakti, Administrative Advisor of Yayasan Basmi Kemiskinan, and G100 Global Chair for Philanthropy, Business and Poverty Eradication. A Harvard Business School alumna, 2016, and ex-con member of its Alumni Club Malaysia. She is President of the ASEAN India Business Council under WICCI, an honorary advisor of Wawasanita, Sector Committee Chair for Women, Youth, Gender and Diversity at TPACCI, as well as President of the Women Economic Forum, known as WEF ASEAN, and WEF ASEAN 2025 Malaysia. She has been awarded Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa from Rai University, India, and accolades including Women of the Decade 2022 and 2023, Rania Award 2024, Humanitarian Impact 2024, Themis Award 2024, Sabah Top Achievers 2024, and Legendary Women of the Decade. A big hand for Datin Hart. Now, Dr. Shafrina Sharif is an international sustainability expert and strategist with extensive global experience. She established and spearheaded the corporate sustainability endeavors of multinational companies across diverse regions and industries, including engineering and construction, biotechnology, and airport hospitality. She holds a PhD in Environmental Governance and Democracy from Imperial College London and an international master's degree in Sustainable Development and Corporate Responsibility from EOI Business School, Madrid. Dr. Shafrina has also been active in advocating for DEIB, such as through championing women's empowerment, and was featured in Prestige magazine's Women of Power 2023 as a trailblazer. Dr. Shafrina was Global Head of ESG and Sustainability at Plaza Premium Group prior to being appointed as the group's Global ESG and Sustainability Advisor. She's also the founder and CEO of Terra Lesta International, which offers tailored ESG and sustainability training, advisory, and consultancy services. A big hand for Dr. Shaf. Now over to Puan Farah Osman, who is an agile leader with extensive experience in the HR space. Currently, she is the Director of Human Resources and Administration at Tun Razak Exchange Cities near Berhad, where she is responsible for driving the people's agenda. With extensive experience in various industries, such as oil and gas, defense, and technology, Farah has successfully led HR transformation initiatives, including talent development, employee relations, and change management initiatives, particularly in people and culture contexts. Her leadership extends to social responsibility, having previously spearheaded the social pillar under ESG in a PLC, where she championed sustainability strategies around talent attraction and retention, diversity and inclusion, and human rights. Farah is a certified advanced coaching and mentoring professional and is certified in Hogan assessments, underscoring her commitment to HR innovation and talent development. A passionate mentor and coach, Farah has also contributed to social impact initiatives, including youth development and startup ventures, and remains an advocate for the advancement of HR practices and people-centered leadership. A big hand for Farah. Now, Encik Ibrahim Sani is an ally for the empowerment of women, and he's the only gentleman who is joining us today. Encik Ibrahim Sani has extensive experience in finance, banking, strategy, business intelligence, capital markets, and media. He holds a bachelor's degree honors in accounting from the International Islamic University of Malaysia and is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants and a fellow of CPA Australia. He is a member of the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and a member of the Malaysian Institute of Accountants. Previously, he served at EONCAP Islamic Bank Berhad, later known as Hong Leong Islamic Bank Berhad, and CIMB Investment Bank, before diversifying his career in the world of broadcasting with BFM and Astro. He is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Peneraju, an agency under the Ministry of Economy Malaysia that functions as a talent bank to identify, nurture, and manage Bumiputra talents to accelerate the global competitiveness of Bumiputra. Now we will move on to the discussions. Now I will start with Datin Hartini. Datin Hartini, your life bridges entrepreneurship, property development, and social uplifting. How did your personal challenges shape your leadership philosophy, and what do you hope younger women learn from your journey?
First and foremost, thank you very much, Puan Almas, for being with us today, and to our dear friends on the stage. And thank you, Datuk Nafisa, and the whole team, WIBM, who has given their best today. And congratulations, and please give them a round of applause. They have done a good job. And thank you for everyone for staying back till now. So, Alhamdulillah, I think my journey for the past 39 years in business and 35 years in philanthropy, basically, I look at my journey, what we need to have in our life, actually, is that authenticity. Having that journey, starting from doing a business, I start my journey, with being a trader, bringing building materials. If all of you know Eyes of Egypt, where we do have 13 series in TV3 at that point of time. And we supply to KLCC, Putrajaya, most of the big malls for the building material. Then we go into Class F, then Class B, then Class A. and I become a developer. But however, that journey was not easy. Yeah. But having said that, to be a leader in that situation at that point of time, there's a lot of culture differences between you and your client, your staff, and the value that you add into your organization. But most important thing is do what you think is right and be authentic and take care of the welfare of that within boundaries that you have. Because if you want to grow, you need to grow with the people around you. When they are happy with what you actually give them that opportunity to grow with them, then you will then grow together with them. So having that, as I go on into that situation, I felt that entrepreneurship, development, self-development, and social upliftment between yourself and community is very important. As I go along, I'm now the G100 Philanthropy, Business and Poverty Eradication. Globally, I've gone to 50 countries all over the world to promote philanthropy. What I see is that we, in any sectors or any organization or even in your business, we should create or uplift the ethical wealth distribution. Why I say ethical wealth distribution? Because you look at wealth distribution around yourself, but of course you look into your organization first, then only you go out to the community. And having that said, with that nurture, upliftment, and empowerment within that circle of organization that you have, that's how you nurture the commitment, the resilience, and having a good values for you to carry on in whatever you do. I think that's my answer.
Fantastic. She's done so much philanthropically as well as business, and it goes in parallel, right? And enrich so many people's lives. Now over to Dr. Shafrina. As a global sustainability expert and strategist who has lived, studied, and worked across the globe from New York to Italy to Hong Kong, walk us through your journey into sustainability. What inspired your career path? And from your point of view, how is the sustainability lens fundamentally reshaping leadership mindsets today?
Hello. Thank you so much, Almas. And well, first of all, I wanted to say assalamu alaikum to everyone, all ladies and gentlemen here. Thank you so much for being such a good sport and dancing with us just now. We know that this is the last session. We're kind of, winding down, but we didn't want you all to end up like sleeping on us, and we just wanted everybody to start moving, maybe as a pre-party before we have the gala dinner later, right? Anyway, yeah, so to answer your question, I guess, so I am, oftentimes I describe myself as a person who holds a Malaysian passport, but I think of myself as a global citizen because of the amount of time I've spent living, working, growing up, studying overseas. I guess if one were to count like age-wise and how many years I spent, around half of my life was spent outside of the country, but I was always in and out of Malaysia. But I traveled from a very young age, since I was 4 years old. And I was born in the 80s, and back then, Malaysia we had such pristine beaches, and this was before the time when we suffered from haze and acid rain, right? Malaysia back then was cooler than it is now. And as beautiful as we are now, of course, the landscape and our environmental landscape has changed. And so from a young age, when I was flying in and out of the country, I was able to see, literally from a bird's eye view, the changing environment of our cities, our people, the development that was taking place. And as proud and excited as I was with all these progress that was taking place, I also felt like I didn't want us to, sacrifice the mega diverse natural environment, the gorgeous setup that we have here in Malaysia, solely in the name of development, right? So I became very fascinated with the concept of a sustainable development, the fact that you could actually balance between economic growth, social development, and environmental conservation, and that's something that is good for us. It's something that we want to future-proof ourselves and be more resilient, right? And the same goes with businesses and organizations as well. So I think that what happened was, initially I had pursued my first studies, my bachelor's degree. I finished my high school in New York. As you mentioned, I was there during 9/11. I finished my high school there. I went on to pursue a degree in political science and international relations because I thought I wanted to be a diplomat and a policymaker. I thought that was how I could, change the world, like through policies and law. And then even later on, when I came back to Malaysia and I was working, and then I decided I want to pursue my studies again, I went on to study regional integration so that I could understand more about regional cooperation like ASEAN and EU, and just have a better understanding of regional collaboration. But then it wasn't until when I pursued my second master's, which was in Madrid, in Spain, because I was in the process of trying to apply to do a PhD, but all the deadlines had closed at the time. I had an option whether I could just stay where I was, work for another year, and apply the next year for the PhD, or pursue something, just take action and do something else. Somehow, or rather, as fate had it, I stumbled upon a program, a master's program in Spain, at a business school. And this was like in, mid-early 2000s, like 2009, 2010, where the concept of sustainable development, you either study that in environmental studies or environmental sciences. Hardly ever did I see it being offered in business schools. So I was interested. I was thinking, wow, what is this? Sustainable development and corporate responsibility, what does that mean? So I got to learn a bit more about what corporate citizenship was about through such a program. I was in a sort of very United Nations environment. My colleagues were from all over the world. We had business leaders that came in to teach us as our professors. It was not so academic, but very hands-on. And then that was when I really started to notice that actually there are opportunities for businesses to make a difference too, for companies. Because if you think about it, there are companies out there that their revenue is the same, if not bigger, than some countries' GDP. So I thought, okay, well, that means that companies also have power here and influence, and they are always at the forefront of technology and innovation. Why not, right? Why can't we also pull in companies and have them contribute and be more proactive in sustainable development? So afterwards, when I pursued my PhD at Imperial College, I had the opportunity, so I completed my master's, I went to do my PhD. I still went into environmental governance and democracy thinking that, okay, I'm going to still work with the government, but eventually when I returned to Malaysia, my parents were aging, I decided, I've traveled a lot. Let's try to come back to Malaysia. And I sort of just was, my first experience of leading sustainability was in engineering and construction. So considered, dirty industry, right? Like a not very, it's like a high emitting industry. Today in Malaysia, the construction sector contributes to about a quarter, about 24%. Of greenhouse gas emissions from Malaysia. So it's pretty significant. And if there are differences or changes that can be made in such a sector, it could be really impactful. But Malaysia, as I said, right, I returned and then I started my sustainability career after doing my PhD in engineering and construction, and then later on I did it in biotechnology, and most recently in airport hospitality. So just from one industry to another. And I would say that what I've seen in, as we were mentioning what was the second part of the question? The leadership, right? Yes, the leadership and how they, yeah. So what I can say is how sustainability can have an influence on the leadership mindset is that I noticed that when you start to integrate sustainability into corporate purpose, into your corporate culture and your policies and the way you implement your practices, you start seeing a shift from thinking about only profit and revenue growth to thinking about creating value for all stakeholders. And for all stakeholders, I'm not just talking about your customers and clients, but also your employees, your communities, and even the environment, also the planet, yeah? So I would say that sustainability has actually been rather influential in this shift of mindset from just thinking about solely growth for the company to thinking about what else can I do to actually make the world a better place? How can my company or my business or my organization help to contribute to solving some of these global challenges that we're experiencing? And and how can I implement or drive more purpose-driven leadership, right? So yeah, I would say that's one of the impacts I've seen. And I mean, now I have my own company that I started, I established about 2 years ago. And now what I do is through Terra Lesta International, I try to provide support and help to businesses and organizations, institutions, what have you, government, universities, to leverage sustainability so that you can also create value and you can also do something better, do better to make the world a better place, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, a big hand for both Dr. Hartini and Dr. Shafrina. But a question to Dr. Hartini. When you listen to Dr. Shafrina, what resonates with your generation's experiences?
I think for younger generation, although we are not so far apart from each other, I hope they could learn the challenges are not roadblocks, but a stepping stone to growth. Yeah, we have to actually embrace every setback as a lesson. Stay true to your values. Know your purpose. Know your true north. And never underestimate the power of collaboration and empathy in leadership. See, the journey might be so tough. You're dragging your leg. Tomorrow morning, I don't want to go to work, this and that. I have so issues. But please, life goes on. Life just go on. Times, minutes, seconds never stop. Whether you do it now or you do it tomorrow, you have still to do it. And of course, with your purpose, your vision, your heart, you can actually create a lasting impact that goes beyond business and touches life through your effort of you still have that time to do what's best. And of course, purpose-driven leadership isn't just compatible with economic success, because it's also a foundation of long-term value, okay? And building the industry beyond you and together with you and touching whatever that is in your circle in a proper manner of humanity, love and peace, and of course the environmental friendly that you want to create for the future generation. And of course with the young professional lead by purpose, prioritizing community, environmental resilience and ethical development, we can actually unlock many innovations, attract conscious investment. Conscious investments mean ethical investment. What you want to invest your money on, what you want to invest your energy on,
what you want to invest your future on. You have that, that resilience. You can make a choice. What choice do you want to make in your life? And of course, build with intention, yeah. Design the whole thing with empathy, and lead with vision that serve people, planet, and community, because that is where it lasts. Because once you have that empathy, when you have that love, when you have that humanity, because globally people are looking, because when I go to Europe, when I go to the third world country, when I go to the Czech country, republic, they are still looking at how could we create this world to a better place, because everybody is looking at how do we create this peace. We want peace. Why? Because when there is no peace, when there is no love, the one that is attract disaster the most is women and children. So this is why we need generation like all of you. You are our pillars of strength. You are our future. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Hartini. So the baton is passed to Dr. Shafrina. And now we move on.
No pressure.
to Farah. We have a question, Farah. Puan Farah, you lead HR and administration for TRX City, a national landmark project. How do you cultivate future-ready talent and ensure that women in property and development sectors are given equal room to thrive?
Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. And thank you, Dr. Puan Almas, for the, I think my brain is just getting frozen because of freezing cold. But just now, Madam Nadia mentioned about transformation. Is such a big word, and for many of us, for me either, transformation, especially for head of HR and my HR team who are here, thank you so much for coming and being here with me. I need that support. Transformation is really a big word, and in TRX, how we've been doing it for at least less than a year, because I just joined the company slightly over a year. It is actually a journey where you want people to have the opportunity to grow when they are heard, when they are given the opportunity to participate. There's a lot of empathy along that journey, and HR plays such an important role to be to support all the leaders, especially those who make the decision, to listen and to have empathy. So actually, we are very fortunate in TRX point. We don't really have to shout out loud about gender diversity because it happens so naturally. So we have about 50-50 in terms of ratio male-female. So we have architects, female architects, who are doing very well in our project team. We do have engineers among the women. And actually, I have my colleague here. She's the head of district management. And she has been instrumental in the journey of TRX over 15 years. So it is actually a natural progression in TRX. But I understand that it is something that is not, it doesn't happen organically in property and construction. So that is where HR plays such an important role to create that opportunity and that platform. So I always believe that, to bring people and to enroll people to be part of that journey is how you engage with them. So one of the things that we have done in TRX just this year is that we organize an ideathon. So ideathon is actually coming from a startup entrepreneurship GLC. It comes very naturally to me because you all have all these design thinking tool, you have all these business canvas and the basic coding, so it comes naturally. But in a property where it is a regulated industry, maybe it's a bit tough. So then HR plays such an important role to create that opportunity by doing it. So we run this ideathon where we open opportunity for each and everyone to participate and pitch for ideas, how to provide solutions. You know, we come up with a problem statement and we just ask them to participate and they just pitch. And we then reward them by giving them another opportunity for them to pitch better, because who knows that one day they don't have to work 24/7, or they can own their own business, their own startup. So that's the kind of opportunity that we provide. Because another angle that we want to talk about courage to transform, and especially when it comes to transformation, is the agility. I know, again, it's a big word, right? But I always like to adopt the mindset of entrepreneurial mindset. You don't have to own a business to have that entrepreneurial mindset. It's all about growth mindset. It's about collaborate. It's about co-create. It's about listen, and also giving opportunity for everyone to bring in ideas and views to the table. I think for the young generations, especially in my team, I do have those who just graduated from universities. They want to be part of that policy making. They just want to be heard. So all you need to do is what I actually do in TRX, is that we create that platform where they can just give ideas, and we consider and we include them in giving that ideas and how we develop our policies and procedures that is more relevant and practical and seamless. So courage is also about wanting to take feedback, wanting to hear whether the feedback is good or bad, with an open mind. It's wanting to change, because it always starts with the leader, with myself. It always begins with me. I always remember whenever I go from one organization and to another organization, it's always about mindset. It's how I change, because I can't be driving change when I don't want to change. When I'm so rigid, like righteous, wanting to do what I think is working for the past 20 years may not be working for TRX. So yes, in TRX, as I mentioned, there's a lot of engagement programs that we organize and we facilitate, giving the opportunity for everyone to come out. And, because to inculcate courage is not just a classroom lesson that you run. It's not just the leadership development program that you organize. It's the opportunity and the real opportunity for them to be heard. Yes. Thank you.
Very strong words there. Now, over to Encik Ibrahim Sani, who professes to be an ally on the journey of women, empowerment of women. Now, Encik Ibrahim, you speak daily with CEOs, policymakers, and innovators. From your vantage point in media and finance, what do young professionals need to understand about communication, credibility, and courage in leadership?
I think young people know what they want. I think the old people don't know what the young people want. I also think that the young people do not want to be boxed in a particular career. Say, for instance, you have a 25-year-old young lady who has graduated in architecture. Most likely than not, she doesn't want to be an architect. Also, higher likely is that person doesn't know what she wants. And that's okay. The idea here is the transferability of the upskilling and reskilling of that particular individual is an ongoing effort, and the old people stay out of their way. The old people need to mentor, coach, and guide, do not instruct. I think that's the part where we get it wrong. We've done it this way for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, this fella must follow my way. Game over. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about empowering, it's not about giving more to women. It's about removing any biasness towards women. For example, we have a HR person here. Senang kita cerita. A person with HR, you tengok perut boncet, scary. One of the scariest thing for an HR person. Betul tak? Tak. Okay, TRX bagus. Other places that is not TRX will now think twice from hiring that particular person who is expecting a baby. Why? Because of 3 months paternity leave, extra months of unpaid maternity leave and so on. Maternity, Cuba kalau this government remove that idea of only 3 months maternity leave and add a 3 months paternity leave. Add another 12 months unpaid paternity leave. Now the HR manager does not have the disincentive to not hire a pregnant lady, because it doesn't matter whether or not that lady is a lady or a man, you will still face these kind of issues. This is what I mean by empowerment and being an ally. Not give more, but equal the level playing field. I'm not looking for equality, I'm looking for equity. Okay, you're a business owner, we spoke on the phone before we started this panel. You cakap, okay lah, tapi siapa nak bayar? I ni gaji berapa orang, my staff 20 orang ni. Betul juga, dia bukan TRX, ada duit. So, untuk mereka yang bukan TRX yang kaya, ada bangunan tinggi segala macam, you now need assistance from government. I know that more of you know more than me when it comes to some economies that give money to women that have babies. Especially our friend, doctor here, dah travel satu dunia. How many people know that many countries, other countries, when you have a baby, they give you money. Now, why? It's not just about encouraging reproductive rates. It is one of them, yes, but the care that you give women, maternity leave for X number of months, allowing that woman to breastfeed the child, countless studies have shown life care and health improvement of that particular individual in terms of cost for healthcare is reduced dramatically compared to those that were not breastfed when they were in the first 2 years. So when we talk about cost, it's cheaper to give women 12 months maternity leave. Cost bukan tahun ni, fiscal year, but lifelong cost for a country to jaga one particular generation. Now that is equity. So we talk about every year budget, PMX, whatever, to explain billion, healthcare, 20 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, whatever. Tak pernah cukup, memang lah. Tutup 24 jam kedai mamak, remove all ni. In fact, kita punya, meja saya tadi, saya komplain, apa, roti manis. Tu belakang tu. Remove that, bagi salad, okay, tutup 24 jam, and our diet can be further improved, and we're done. Okay, dulu kita makan nasi lemak sebab kita ada sawah padi. I came here with a Grab. I didn't burn any calories. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is there's so many ways to improve the equality and equity by removing these kind of incentives. And this is what I'm trying to say. So that's number 2. Finally, number 3. Siapa kata kita kena retire at 60? I mean, it is an arbitrary number, and if you're in the private sector, of course, 60 bye-bye, or even public sector, retirement age. What I'm trying to say is, life doesn't stop at 55 or 60 or 67 or 57 or whatever arbitrary number that you put in your head. There is this concept of semi-retirement. You might have to repurpose your life towards the end of your professional journey. What I'm trying to also say is what's stopping you from learning more about AI, data science, cloud computing, whatever you have, just because of your age. In fact, on the contrary, it's a lot easier to learn technology now, even if you are in your 50s or 60s or 70s. Stay connected to the world by being productive to the economy. Now, if you're in your 50s, fantastic, well done. Repurpose your workspace. Because I'm not expecting you to lift bricks any longer. You leave it to the 20-year-olds. They can do better. But you need to bring your maturity and wisdom into the professional space by bringing your experience and translating that into the economy. So don't talk about retirement when you're in your 50s. That's very disheartening for people in your 20s. Don't. There's a long life ahead of you. Malaysian life expectancy, just Google it. We're looking at, what, 69 years old when we were 20 years ago. This year, we're hitting 79. In a few more years, we're going to surpass 80-year-old life expectancy. Stay healthy, be connected, and be productive. Itu nombor 3. Finally, kita nak bagi mikrofon. Sekian orang. Nak balik, semua nak balik. Dah pukul 5 suku dah. Okay. There is this concept of spotlight effect. Some of you know this, some of you don't. Pergi Google. Tajuk dia kata, leading change, building futures. Now you want to lead change, lead. Take action. Jangan fikir idea Ton ni bagus. Mana the translation dia kepada activity? Ada activity Ton? Alhamdulillah. So point dia adalah, there's 5 things that you wanted to do all your life. Do it. 2026 is just around the corner. Do it. Execute. You know why? Because nobody is really going to judge you. You know for a fact that the harshest judge is yourself. You tengok, you ambil gambar ni, siapa yang akan kritik you? You. Orang lain akan kritik orang lain. So tak payah you nak kritik diri you dah. Sudah. We've done that part already. Now we execute. So let's do that. So once you do all 4, you're going to lead change and you're going to build a better future. Silakan.
Thank you. I'll go back to Dr. Shafrina. Apart from planet and profit, sustainability is also about people. How can organizations embed compassion and purpose into their workplace culture?
Right, thanks for that question and for the very strong energy that I'm feeling from our ally here. Yeah, I think that some of that has been already mentioned by Puan Farah and Ibrahim. I think that we were talking earlier about, purpose-driven leadership and sustainability, how that changes the mindset. So when we think about how that then can contribute towards integrating, I guess if you were to mainstream sustainability in any organization, a way for you to kind of embed compassion and this sort of sense of empathy and some social sustainability principles would be, first of all, before we start engaging with the people on it, try to embed that into the purpose of the organization first. I mean, not necessarily it has to be the first. There are some companies or organizations I've seen that actually put it into practice before they have it as part of their purpose. But what I'm seeing is that it's really important to kind of, for people to see that it's coming from the top, and it's coming from leadership, and that you actually integrate it into the purpose, like the heart and soul of your organization or your business. And then the leaders have to sort of perform as the role models, because I have seen so many times companies where you have, for example, this talk about work-life balance, or, yeah, we care about women and empowering women, but then like when the employees look at the leaders, right, leaders are not practicing work-life balance, right? And sometimes they invite you to meetings at 10 p.m. or 7 p.m. or something, and then people are questioning, so where's the work-life balance? So I once worked in a Danish company where I remembered they told me that on purposely, even though they needed to have a discussion or a meeting, they told me that on purposely they would reject that time and reschedule it at a time that is more appropriate for everyone, because they said, if I don't lead it, then who will? Like, I'm the leader. Actually, it was totally fine for me to do this meeting, but they said, if I do that, then I'm setting a sort of culture, and I don't want that. I want people to know that if we say that we care about your mental health and your growth, and we care about healthy career development at our organization, we want to be able to actually emulate that, right, and lead the way. So that's one thing, one way to go about it, purpose, through role model. But I would say also in implementing certain initiatives and programs as well. Something that I've done before, and also I just want to say, just like something that Inchi Ibrahim had touched on a bit, right? About, for example, actually providing incentives. Let's say in this case it was paternal leave. Yes, you know, some benefits, salary range, all of that is of course very important in attracting and retaining talent and then building a certain corporate culture, right? A sustainable corporate culture. But at the same time, I would say that a lot of companies, they do this thing where they think like just having a pizza party or having like a little bit of a bonus here or, you know, a little bit of an award there, that's what's going to influence our corporate culture. Actually, that's not enough. You really have to kind of literally show through what you are implementing, the initiatives and programs that you're offering, that the company is serious about this. An example of this is CSR. I've come to kind of sort of despise this term. I'll tell you why. Because CSR, when it first began back in the 80s and 90s, it was meant as a way to say that companies should do more than just generate revenue, and that they are supposed to provide services and products that actually give back to society or that actually bring value to society. However, over the years, CSR has also been seen as something that is not part of the business. It's like separate. It's the extra thing you do. And normally, we relate it back to philanthropic activities and charity lah. So now when we think about doing these sort of social or community engagement programs that a company does, I like the idea of moving away from the CSR mindset. Don't think of it as, oh, I'm doing this just as an extra lah. This is my business, how I operate my business. And then on the side, I'll just like throw some money to an environmental or social cause. And then that's good enough. That's the contribution I've made to society. No, I mean, what you can do, which can also benefit your own people and inspire your people. In fact, studies show that when you have a proper volunteering program or initiative in the company, it actually contributes to increasing productivity in a company as well. So, for example, I like the idea of moving away from the CSR and doing something like volunteering program where you get like your employees, you invite them during work hours, yeah? Do not take their time when they are resting on weekends with their families or after work. Don't do that. Implement initiatives and activities that are during work hours, meaning it's on the company's time and money with the company's budget, right, that is provided. And then you invite your people to take part in very meaningful and strategic volunteering activities and causes. For example, if you're a company that is in, let's say, hospitality, let's say in hotels, right, or like F&B. So what are the areas in sustainability that relates to your business? Think about that. Right? So let's say you're talking about, what relates to us? Food waste. Okay, food waste. So let's maybe do something to address that cause on food waste. Maybe it would be like raising awareness on it, or maybe reducing food waste in our operations, maybe talking about it with our people, our employees, and thinking how can we like maybe reduce food waste in our canteens, or how do we manage and treat food. And then you can actually get people involved in such a program, and then if you feel like you want to make a donation, you can. But there is some sort of activity related to it, and it's so strategic to your business, and it becomes a part of your business purpose. It's like it's part of what you are doing. It's not just like on the side, charity, you throw the money and look away. No. And of course, this helps to build your reputation as well, your brand reputation. It helps you to gain more collaboration, potentially with international markets that are looking at businesses that are more ethical and responsible. So these are some of the ways you could do it. Another example would be like having a DEIB policy. DEIB meaning diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And making the workplace more accessible to people. Slowly, I mean, it's not like a guarantee per se, like every company that you see that has a sustainability strategy or DEIB policy or maternal-paternal leave are perfect or that they are all sustainable. But the studies show that the more companies integrate these sustainability principles, the more resilient they become, the more, I would say, yeah, well, the more sustainable they become as a business, right? And more profitable, actually. Yeah. Well,
Okay, thank you,
that's all.
Shafina. Now, don't you feel the energy here? You know, I do, you know. So thank you so much. What I feel about this panel is that it's not just about leadership and being at the top. It goes so deep inside on how they approach the business, the community, the environment, and how deep they go to actually understand the people that they embrace, you know, the people who they assist, the people they work with, the young people they need to, how to say, bring up out of the condition that they're in. And thank you to our ally, Encik Ibrahim, who said, go for it, you know. You have to be doers. You cannot be just, say you're a leader, you have to do it. If you find something which is not right, change it. Do something about it, ethically, of course. Now we go on to the next part. I've been warned, we have only a few minutes left. Now, the future we build. Now, in one sentence, we go this way. What do you believe the next generation of leaders must embody to shape a better world? Can I start with you, Datin?
I think what we should nurture ataupun kita kena stay true to ourselves, our culture, our humility, and stay root to your own boundaries, and lead with your heart, with empathy and purpose. I like Tuan Ibrahim was saying, action, please. We need action. We just don't talk and do nothing. I just like to share a little bit, Almas, after we had our program in June. We managed to bring now to have a side event in United Nations Women for having a side event in March 2026 for World Bank for Women and ASEAN World Bank that is going to be discussed in that meeting after our WEF. So what I'm saying is, let your ambition drive you, dream big, push your boundaries, and stay rooted to your humanity. Because it's very important to have that your heart is clear, your conscience are clear, you know what you want to achieve, and bring everybody together with you so that you stay connected and stay true to your vision. So this is empowered. Thank you.
All right. Now, Dr. Shafina.
Yeah, for me, I would say that you should be the change you want to see in the world. That's what I would say, because I think that so many times, especially when it comes to women that I've encountered and made friends with sometimes along the way, they often come up to me and say, how did you do this, or how did you pursue that? You know, I takut lah nak duduk kat negara lain, ataupun I'm too afraid to pursue this lah. I feel like I would fail at it, or I don't know lah. I don't think my parents will be okay, or my husband will be okay, my family will be okay if I do this. I feel like there's this famous quote by Vincent van Gogh where he said that if there is a voice inside you that tells you do not paint, by all means paint. By all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. So just before I let you pass on to Puan Farah and Mr. Ibrahim, I just would like to share with you one of my favorite stories. It came from Kenya, from Professor Wangari Maathai, who was the founder of the Green Belt movement in Kenya. And very quickly, the story is about a forest that was being consumed by a big fire, and all the animals in the forest just stood in shock and felt helpless. They didn't know what to do as the forest was eating and burning away their habitat. A little hummingbird took action by going to the river and picking up, drop by drop, water to pour it over this huge fire that was raging in the forest. All the animals looked at the hummingbird and said, "What are you doing? You're not going to make a difference. What are you doing?" And they just laughed at the hummingbird, laughed away, said, "You're crazy." And the hummingbird said, "But I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can." So I just want to tell you, you know, it's like it could be the smallest steps, and maybe someday you'll find your tribe and you'll make that significant impact. But keep doing whatever it is that you feel is right and passionate, and if you feel that is contributing to the greater good, go and do that and pursue it. And you know, whatever voice it is inside you that's telling you not to, that's laughing at you or saying that, you know, you shouldn't do it, you're not able to, silence that voice. Go ahead anyway, because you never know, you know, you have to have faith that it will make an impact someday. And I'm here to tell you it will. From my experiences, it will.
Thank you, Shafina. And Farah, what do you believe the next generation of leaders must embody to shape a better world?
Okay, so I have shared earlier is the courage to transform or change, is the courage to be agile and also accept change. But I think what I want to share is also courage to fail, because in this part of the world, in our society, you know, we're not so gentle when it comes to failures. So, for instance, you know, in the current system that we have, if you don't excel in SPM, you almost do not have a lot of choices when you want to fill up in the UPU system. So unless and until you come from a very rich family, or you know, your parents can afford it. So I must say that courage to fail is something that we want to create the system where, like in South Korea, you know, the startups are given a specific fund, like a second chance for them to fail and do it again, and then fail, do it again, and there's a fund for it. So maybe, you know, in the future or now, it has to happen now, right? Because eventually just do it. So it has to happen now, that courage to fail. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. And Ibrahim.
Yeah, look, any negative feelings is normally stemmed out of inaction. Frustration, anger, anxiety, aggression, these are all normally associated when you can't do things or you don't do things. When you do things, it's normally associated with positive feelings like satisfaction, gratitude, pride, just a feeling of relief. Kalau fail pun tak apa, at least you've done it. So why do you want to associate yourself with negative feelings, knowing that the opposite to that is just by doing action, whether you win or fail, you're going to have positive feelings associated with it. On top of that, you have to, macam kita just echo this, you have to understand that courage means what? You know, to leave. Leave the company that does not support your growth. Leave the relationship that you're with your partner if that doesn't make you grow. Berani. Kalau tak berani, you're not courageous. Apa I cakap ni tak ramai yang nak cakap, tapi you know this is what is needed to be told. Inilah dia. I'm not asking you to burn relationships with your company, with your partner, with your alumni, with your circle of friends. No, I'm asking you, are these the equations for growth? If it's not, what's stopping you? So associate yourself with positive feelings, change.
Great. Now I have to rush through this. Now before we end with our tagline round, so we're not in the tagline round yet, I'd like each of our panelists to leave us with a one call to action. A simple, powerful message on what we can all do starting today to shape a better future. What one action can every person in this room take to move our industries, our world forward? Just a short sentence.
A short one. Make your bed.
Make your bed.
This is not mine. This is something that I saw on YouTube. Kalau you tak ada kuasa dan tenaga dan keupayaan untuk just kemas your katil after you wake up, trust me, you're not going to achieve much in life.
Okay, Farah. One action for us to move our world forward.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Take risks.
And Datin? Pardon?
Life goes on.
All right. Now we go on to the, wait a minute. Now, those are powerful words. These short statements remind us that leadership is not only about vision, but also conviction, the courage to live our words. Now, thank you, Datin Hartini, Dr. Shafrina, Ibrahim and Farah. What we've learned today is that leadership is no longer about titles. It's about impact. It's about action. The future belongs to those who are brave enough to question, kind enough to collaborate, wise enough to listen with empathy, humility, and compassion, and deep understanding of each other. Let us move forward with confidence with our voices, our designs, and our actions, which can shape a more equitable and sustainable ASEAN, and indeed a better world. Before we end, I need to go through that you have 3 to 5 words to share with the audience. Short, powerful words that describe the way forward. Can I start with you?
Lead with purpose and leave a lasting legacy.
Do well by doing good.
Be like the sun. If you have to rise, you might as well shine.
Nobody really cares what you do, just do it.
And from me, it's inspire, nurture, and empower. With that, thank you so much. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Architect Alma Salma binti Ibrahim, for moderating the forum. And of course, thank you to Yang Berbahagia, Datin Dr. Haja Hartini Osman, Dr. Shafrina Sharif, Puan Farah Uthman, and Mr. Ibrahim Sani. You guys need to know that Mr. Ibrahim Sani is a talk show host. So hence why his point delivery is always on point. Once again, thank you so much to our guest speakers. Wow, burning circle of truth. And of course, thank you for sharing your inspiring words. And we're looking forward to the delegates, our attendees' next course of action on what are you doing to pave successful way in your career and in your work-life balance. Thank you very much, A.R. Almas. Thank you again to our guest speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, before we introduce the final part of our conference today, a short announcement that I would like to share, that we need to share with everyone. Any representative from the Works Ministry, the Architect Division, please come and collect your document at the help desk counter. And of course, if we can have it on the big screen right now, the QR code for feedback. We would love to hear from you, any suggestions, and how has your experience been with us at Women Way Forward Conference 2025. Just give a couple of more seconds for everyone to scan the QR code and, of course, give your honest feedback on how the conference has been. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I've also been informed by the committee that your certificates will be available for collection within 14 working days. All right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible day it has been for all of us, from powerful keynotes to transformative discussions. And of course, the one message that shines through is women are just not part of the change, we are the change. So please welcome once again our President yang berbahagia, Dato' Architect Nafisa Radin, to deliver her appreciation and closing remarks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, industry leaders, colleagues and friends. As we come to the close of this inspiring Women Way Forward Conference 2025, I'm really feeling overwhelmed with sense of gratitude and immense pride. Today has been more than a conference. It has been a journey of inspiration, learning and connection. We listened to powerful stories, we exchanged experience and ideas, and together we demonstrated that transformation begins when voices are united. Each of you here today has played a part, and not just as attendees, but as partners in shaping a more inclusive industry. On behalf of WIBM, I would like to extend our deepest appreciation to CIDB Malaysia for your trust and partnership in allowing WIBM to co-organize this meaningful program as part of ICW, and to the Ministry of Works for your continued commitment to advancing women's leadership in the national development agenda. To our strategic partners, PAM, NCWO, and the other organization, thank you for your continuous collaboration and shared advocacy. And to our corporate sponsors and others who have supported this initiative, we thank you for your confidence in WIBM and your commitment to empowering women in the built environment. To all our distinguished speakers and panelists, thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom with such honesty and passion. You have truly inspired us all. I must also express my deepest gratitude to the WIBM subcommittee and organizing team, the incredible women behind the scenes who work tirelessly to plan, to coordinate, and execute every detail of this conference. Your dedication, your professionalism, and teamwork, from conceptualizing the theme to ensuring every session ran seamlessly, are what made today a resounding success. To each and every one of you, my WIBM JKK, thank you for your commitment and belief in WIBM's mission. This success belongs to you. When we envisioned Women Way Forward, our goal was clear: to create a platform where women in the built environment industry could connect, collaborate, and grow together. And as we look ahead, I would like to extend an open invitation to all the professionals and entrepreneurs and organizations here to continue this journey with us. We welcome you to join WIBM as a member, whether as a corporate members representing your organizations or as an individual members within your respective professions. Together, we can build a stronger network, amplify our voice, and create even greater opportunities for women across the entire value chain. Let this not be the end of a conference, but the beginning of a movement that continues to grow and uplift others. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's conference, Shaping Tomorrow, Building Success, captures our journey perfectly. May today's conversation lead to a new partnership, new collaboration, and a more inclusive and progressive future for women and for Malaysia's built environment as a whole. Thank you once again to CIDB, the Ministry of Works, our partners, the sponsors, and the entire WIBM team. Let us continue move forward with courage, with unity and purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yang berbahagia, Dato' Arkitek Nafisa Radin. Can we have the WIBM committee and Opugo Entertainment crew just line up in front of the main stage just for a second before I conclude and formally conclude the conference. Can we have all the WIBM organizing committee and Opugo Entertainment crew, please? Ladies and gentlemen, fellow delegates, these are the exceptional individuals who have worked together tirelessly as a team, making it a success for everyone today. They've, like Dato' has said, they've worked for months trying to make this a success. So let's give them a round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause to our guest speakers and our panelists. Okay. And of course, thank you to all of you for being such amazing delegates. Puan Aida?
Okay, so ada satu announcement yang kita nak buatkan bahawa perhatian kepada semua peserta-peserta conference pada hari ini, anda akan menerima sijil kehadiran anda, okay, berserta dengan CCD dan CPD point selepas 14 hari waktu bekerja dan melalui email. Ya, jika anda tidak menerimanya, sila hubungi semula sekretariat yang telah menghubungi anda. Baik, 14 hari selepas waktu bekerja. Okey? 14 hari waktu bekerja. Alright? Terima kasih. Melalui email. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Voices of Vision, Leaders of Impact. This is Women Way Forward 2025. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Until we meet again in the near future, have a good week ahead. Salam Malaysia Madani. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Zaleha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please make sure that you have your QR scan for clock out.
Better watch out, going for the knockout, and I won't stop. get it,